This is Kang, a single, virgin, orphan, jobless ex-gym trainer who is now stuck in hell, getting smashed by mosquitoes, torn by goblins, and dying thousands of times in every brutal way possible. And how did he get here? Well, it all starts with the dungeon. After the dungeon came, his life changed completely. Everyone awakened powers, gyms became useless, and now he has to clean dirt and poop to find low-grade mana crystals with his childhood friend to make a living. But one day, his life turned upside down when suddenly the pendant started glowing brightly, radiating an intense light. Before Kang could react, he was teleported into a deserted, destroyed, apocalyptic world. So now, will the monsters eat Kang, or will Kang eat the monsters and grow stronger? Let's find out. Kang glances to his left and right, his mind racing with questions. What is going on? How did I get here? Before he can gather his thoughts, a sudden notification appears before his eyes. The system notifies Kang that he has broken all known limits. Kang's body has awakened to mana, and for the first time, mana begins to circulate through him. Kang, confused, stares at the glowing notification in front of him, wondering what it means. Just as he begins to question it, another notification appears. The system informs Kang that he has accomplished the impossible. He has entered Hell difficulty with the lowest level of all humanity. The notifications don't stop there. Kang earns the title SSS rank, Good God Luck, a title so rare that even the system seems impressed. Two more notifications follow, flashing brightly. One announces that Kang is the first person to unlock Hell difficulty, and the other declares him as Hell's strongest, the first and only holder of this title. Kang reads these words with his mouth agape. The system tells him that he is the final survivor. These notifications hit Kang like a ton of bricks. His mouth remains open as he tries to make sense of it. Final survivor? Does this mean he is the only human left in this entire world? A deep unease builds in Kang's chest. Kang starts shouting, his voice echoing in the eerie emptiness. He yells out for any other humans, desperately asking if anyone is there. His shouts cut through the still air, but no one answers. As Kang's panic starts to spiral, his eyes catch a glimmer in the distance. His gaze locks onto a purple, glowing crystal. He freezes, staring at it with wide eyes. This crystal, it's the one he's been searching for in the dirty sea. The crystal moose he spent so long scavenging for now lies before him, pristine and untouched. Kang approaches it with disbelief. He knows how valuable this crystal is. Even the smallest, dimmest piece of purple mousse is worth hundreds of dollars. But this one is pure and perfect. Its worth must be in the thousands. Kang picks up the crystal, holding it tightly in his hand. His mind races with thoughts of the fortune it could bring. He smiles for the first time in ages, thinking, I've hit the jackpot. But before Kang can relish his luck, a black dust begins to swirl around him. It drifts closer, almost innocently, until Kang accidentally inhales it. The effect is immediate. It feels as though millions of needles pierce every inch of Kang's body. His chest tightens as a searing pain spreads through him. Blood pours from his mouth as he collapses onto the ground. Kang gasps, unable to breathe. His body writhes in agony. The system coldly notifies him that poison has entered his body. Kang's entire body becomes paralyzed as his stamina plummets rapidly. He doesn't understand what's happening. It feels as if millions of ants are biting him at once. His screams echo across the empty landscape, desperate and filled with pain. Another system notification flashes. An unknown enemy has attacked. Kang looks around wildly, searching for his attacker, but there's no one in sight. The overwhelming pain blinds him. Darkness encroaches on his vision as he struggles to keep moving. With what little strength he has left, Kang drags himself forward, ringing the bell that lies on the ground near him. His body betrays him. He can't breathe, and the pain is unbearable. Moments later, Kang succumbs. He collapses completely, lifeless, as the system delivers its final message. You have died due to fine dust, level 1. Survival time, 4 minutes, 32 seconds. In his subconscious, Kang thinks bitterly, fine dust. I died because of this stupid fine dust. A wave of disbelief washes over him as he concludes, what a dumb way to die. Bro just died because of dust. After some time, Kang finally opens his eyes and finds himself lying on the cold, hard ground. His body feels completely numb, and as Kang slowly gets up, he wonders to himself, is this a bad dream? But as soon as Kang fully opens his eyes, he realizes the harsh truth. He is still in the same deserted, apocalyptic world. In front of him, the system appears again, notifying Kang of a new quest. The task? Survive the first night in hell. Kang freezes, his mind racing. When the realization dawns that this is no dream but grim reality, a wave of fear washes over him. And guys, making this type of video takes a lot of sleepless nights and effort, so please like the video and help us reach 7,000 likes. Also, comment your favorite part in the comments to support the video. Now, let's continue. Frantically, he grabs his shirt from the ground, throws on his jacket, and starts running. As he runs, Kang's thoughts race just as fast. He wonders who could be playing such a cruel and twisted prank on him. He clenches his fists and thinks bitterly, who is doing this to me? Who keeps torturing me like this? His frustration bubbles over as he swears to himself, I will get my revenge, even if it's on a pile of dust. But fate has other plans. As Kang runs, he accidentally inhales the deadly poison dust again. His body convulses and he collapses. The system coldly announces Kang's time, 5 minutes, 22 seconds. But death doesn't end with just 1 or 2 attempts. Kang dies 8 times in a row. Each time, his body breaks down in agony. Right now, Kang is sitting on the ground, exhausted and defeated. His breathing is ragged, his body trembling. He sighs loudly, vomiting as he apologizes to himself and to God. Kang starts praying, pleading that whoever is behind this torment will stop. He feels completely lost. Moments later, Kang collapses again, succumbing to the poison. But this time, something is different. He survives for 11 minutes and 13 seconds before his body gives out. When Kang opens his eyes once more, the system notifies him. Kang's poison resistance has increased. Kang's paralysis resistance has improved. The notification sparks a faint glimmer of hope in Kang. He realizes that his body is slowly adapting. A thought crosses his mind. If I inhale all the poison dust, maybe I'll build full immunity. Desperation fuels his decision. Kang takes a deep breath, inhaling the poison dust intentionally. His body endures for 24 minutes before failing again, pushing his death count to 14 times. Kang meditates in place, focusing on his breathing. With each inhale, he pulls in more of the poison dust, enduring the searing pain. As the system continues to notify him, Kang learns that his poison resistance and paralysis resistance are steadily increasing. He closes his eyes and remembers something his grandfather once taught him, a strange but effective breathing technique. Kang's grandfather had always praised him, telling Kang that this technique would one day help him overcome the toughest challenges. Using this memory as a guide, Kang focuses on his breathing, forcing air deep into his lungs despite the poison. His grandfather's words echo in his mind. With this breathing technique, you'll move forward no matter what. Kang doesn't know why this is happening to him, but he clings to the technique like a lifeline. Then, darkness envelops him again, and Kang dies. This time, however, he survives for 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 21 seconds before succumbing. Finally, after 28 deaths, Kang opens his eyes to a startling discovery. His body feels unnaturally light, almost as if he could float. Stretching, Kang feels a strange sensation coursing through him. The system notifies him. Kang's body has reached a critical point. Kang has unlocked the rare skill, Poison Blood. Kang will no longer take damage from poison. Kang stares at the notification, his face a mix of confusion and awe. He doesn't understand what has just happened, but one thing is clear, the poison dust no longer affects him. A strange thought crosses his mind. Did I really inhale all that poison dust? Did my body truly absorb it and build resistance? He looks down at his hands, his eyes narrowing. If the system notification is correct, does that mean the fluid in my body has turned poisonous? The realization sends a chill through Kang. Kang's blood has also become poisonous. Thinking this, Kang wonders, what kind of nonsense is this? But there's no time to dwell on it. Since Kang has now managed to survive for over an hour, he finally decides to explore his surroundings. Moving cautiously, Kang notices something ahead, a very large piece of crystal mousse lying on the ground. Picking it up in his hands, Kang's mind races. If I could take this crystal mousse back to the real world, I'd become a millionaire. The crystal's value is undeniable, but another thought crosses Kang's mind. This can't be real, even though it looks so real. As Kang continues pondering how to take the crystal mousse to the real world, the system suddenly notifies him. The message asks if Kang would like to store the crystal mousse in his inventory. Without hesitation, Kang agrees. In an instant, the crystal mousse disappears from his hands. The system notifies Kang that his inventory has been unlocked. Kang's mouth hangs open in shock. He immediately opens his inventory and realizes this isn't a dream. He genuinely has the ability to store items. Seeing this, Kang can't contain his excitement. He thinks to himself, I didn't even know I could do this. His mind begins to race again, imagining all the crystal mousse he could now store safely. But just as Kang starts celebrating, a strange sound interrupts him. The noise grows louder, and Kang turns around. His eyes widen in terror. Moving toward him at an alarming speed is what appears to be a thick black fog. Kang's breath catches as he realizes it's not fog. It's a swarm of massive mosquitoes, their sheer number making them look like a dark cloud. Without wasting a second, Kang starts running like a madman, screaming, "What the F *** K is that?" The system chimes in, notifying him, "Mosquito level 3 has appeared." Kang, panting and frustrated, snaps back mentally, "Yeah, no shit, I already know there are a lot of mosquitoes." Despite his efforts to outrun them, Kang isn't fast enough. The swarm surrounds him, engulfing his entire body. Kang thrashes wildly, trying to fight them off with punches, but the mosquitoes don't even flinch. They begin biting him from every angle, their attacks relentless. And then, the unimaginable happens. The mosquitoes force their way into Kang's mouth, and with a grotesque explosion took their exit from Kang's ass hole. They tear Kang's body apart. Blood splatters everywhere as Kang's body bursts like a balloon. The mosquitoes greedily drink Kang's blood, but their feast is short-lived. As soon as the mosquitoes consume Kang's blood, something shocking happens. They pop like bubbles, triggering a powerful explosion. The system notifies Kang, "You survived for 6 hours and 18 minutes." Moments later, Kang's consciousness returns, and he finds himself back at the respawn point, his head pounding with pain. The system immediately informs Kang of a new achievement. Kang has poisoned and killed over 100 monsters at once. Kang's poison power has increased. Hearing this, Kang's suspicions are confirmed. The mosquitoes died because of my blood. My blood really is poisonous. But wait a sec, if the mosquitoes died from sucking his blood, does that mean that his future wife would die from sucking his dick? Kang begins celebrating his first monster kill, but his joy is short-lived. The system notifies him again. An unknown disease has infected Kang's body and his health will decrease rapidly. Frustration boils over and Kang shouts, "What kind of bullshit is this?" But before he can finish venting, he collapses to the ground. As Kang falls, he crashes into a very old, broken chair, shattering it into pieces. The system notifies Kang. Kang has learned a normal skill, dismantle. Lying on the ground, Kang doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Should I be happy about getting a new skill, or sad that I now have some hell-level malaria disease? Moments later, the system notifies Kang that his health has dropped below 10%. However, because of Kang's title, Hell's Strongest Person, all diseases have been purged from his body. Kang, still utterly confused by everything, decides to test his new skill. Picking up the broken chair, Kang thinks to himself, "If I use the skill dismantle, maybe I can figure out how it works." Saying the word aloud, Kang activates the skill. To his surprise, the chair's parts are neatly dismantled and arranged in a disciplined manner. Kang stares at the pieces and mutters, "This skill is genuinely hell awesome." Holding a piece of the chair, Kang starts thinking deeply. "I just collided with a chair and it broke. That's how I got the dismantle skill. If that's the case, does this mean I can unlock unlimited skills just by doing random tasks in this hell?" Testing his theory, Kang reattaches the dismantled chair, thinking it might give him another skill. As soon as he finishes, the system notifies him. Kang has learned a new skill, creation. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Kang sitting in his place, meditating. Kang thinks to himself that he doesn't know how long he will have to stay in this unknown place. So he decides to collect everything he might need to survive. Kang gets up and begins gathering all the crystal mousse, storing them in his inventory. During his search, Kang finds a newspaper. However, the language written in it is completely unfamiliar to him. Kang concentrates intensely, trying to decipher the strange text. After a long while, the system notifies him that he has learned a new language. Kang is genuinely surprised. He thinks to himself that in this hellish place, he can seemingly gain new skills just by attempting anything. Intrigued, he starts reading the newspaper and notices the name of a city, Taishengil. The name strikes a chord with Kang. He thinks deeply and realizes that this city exists in his real world. This discovery leads him to wonder, is this place somehow connected to the real world? Kang entertains the thought for a moment, but then decides to set it aside. Even if this place and the real world are connected, Kang reasons, there are two things I need to focus on first: surviving here and finding a way back to the real world. After coming to this conclusion, Kang sits down in front of the items he has collected from his surroundings. Among them are the remains of mosquitoes. Some had died after drinking Kang's poisonous blood, while others he had caught himself. Kang meticulously uses his dismantle ability, separating the mosquitoes into various parts. For 2-3 hours, Kang works tirelessly, dismantling the mosquitoes. When he finally lies down on the ground, utterly exhausted, he looks over his collected items. He now has mosquito wings, poisonous blood, and even mosquito dung. Kang looks at the strange collection and thinks, what can I possibly make with all of this? An idea strikes him. Why not make a poison dart? Holding mosquito blood in one hand and a mosquito feather in the other, Kang imagines a dart in his mind. The moment he focuses, Kang activates his creation skill, and in an instant, a rare item called Hell Dart appears in his hand. The system notifies Kang of his success, and he stares at the dart in amazement. He thinks to himself that he could create genuinely awesome things with this ability. Encouraged, Kang uses the rest of the poison blood, mosquito feathers, and Hell Dart materials to craft more darts, but Kang doesn't stop there. He pushes his ability to its limits. Focusing his mind, Kang uses his creation skill on all the poison darts at once, imagining what might result if they combined into something legendary. The system responds with a surprising notification. Congratulations! Kang has created an unknown legendary egg. Kang looks down at his hand to see a tiny white egg, no larger than his palm. The system informs him that it is an unknown legendary egg, but even the system doesn't know what might hatch from it. There's a 50 chance that whatever comes out of the egg is alive. The system adds that the egg will only hatch once certain criteria are met. Kang is puzzled. He thinks to himself, what criteria could possibly hatch this egg? A strange thought crosses his mind. If I keep it warm, like a chicken egg, will it hatch? Without much thought, Kang places the egg on his chest and sits quietly waiting. Time passes, but the egg remains unchanged. Realizing what he's doing, Kang suddenly feels a wave of embarrassment wash over him. He becomes extremely shy, thinking about how ridiculous he must look. Kang quickly pulls himself back to reality, feeling ashamed of his weird attempt. But Kang doesn't have the luxury of staying embarrassed for long, because he hears heavy footsteps echoing through the building. Kang's heart skips a beat. He quickly hides behind a nearby pillar and peers toward the source of the sound. His eyes widen as he notices an old goblin entering the building with a massive sword in its hand. Kang tries his best to remain silent, but his breathing betrays him. The goblin's ears twitch, and with a smirking smile, it immediately dashes toward Kang's hiding spot. Kang realizes the goblin has found him. Without wasting a second, he gets ready to run for his life. The goblin, however, is fast. Too fast. In the blink of an eye, it swings its enormous sword, aiming to cut Kang's neck into 2 pieces. But Kang, relying on sheer reflexes, dodges the attack at the last moment. His eyes dart to the left, and he notices a staircase in the corner of the building. Kang doesn't hesitate. He bolts toward the staircase, climbing it as fast as his legs can carry him. But the goblin isn't far behind. It chases Kang with relentless speed, its heavy footsteps pounding against the floor. Panicked, Kang opens his inventory and pulls out his legendary stick. Gritting his teeth, he turns to face the goblin and swings the stick with all his might. But the goblin is unfazed. It jumps effortlessly, dodging the attack with ease. The goblin lands gracefully, spreading its arms wide in a show of arrogant confidence, as if mocking Kang. Its smirking expression seems to say, "You're nothing but a plaything to me." The system suddenly notifies Kang. This is a red-caped goblin, level 20. Kang's stomach sinks. A level 20 monster? He knows immediately that defeating this goblin is almost impossible. But the goblin doesn't give him time to think. With a fierce dash, it launches a barrage of attacks, each swing of its sword aimed to decapitate Kang. Kang dodges desperately, each near miss leaving him sweating and gasping for air. But disaster strikes. The stick in Kang's hand breaks under the pressure of the goblin's relentless attacks. Kang freezes for a moment, stunned. The goblin, seeing this, smirks even wider and begins speaking to Kang in its own language. Kang is caught off guard. An intelligent monster? This is unheard of. Monsters in the real world are mindless brutes. But this goblin, with its sharp mind and deadly skill, is on a whole different level. As Kang observes the goblin, he notices its 6-pack abs, rippling with strength. The sight confirms what Kang already knows. It's impossible to defeat this monster in his current state. He needs to call Goblin Slayer, but just as despair begins to set in, An idea strikes him. Kang quickly opens his inventory and summons all his poison darts. With a flick of his wrist, he launches them at the goblin, but the goblin reacts with astonishing speed, slashing at the incoming darts with its sword. Its strikes are so powerful that the darts are split in half mid-air. One of the goblin's slashes is so strong that it cuts Kang's chest open, leaving him gasping in pain. Blood pours from the wound, but Kang's persistence pays off. One of the poison darts hits the goblin's right hand. The effect is immediate. The goblin's hand starts bubbling violently, the flesh reacting to the poison. Realizing the danger, the goblin doesn't hesitate. It slashes its own hand off to stop the poison from spreading. Kang watches in shock, wondering if the bubbling was caused by the poison dart or by his poisonous blood already inside the goblin's system. Before Kang can piece it together, the goblin suddenly disappears from sight. Kang's eyes dart around, but it's too late. The goblin reappears behind him, leaping through the air. In a single, devastating slash, the goblin cuts Kang's chest in two, draining all the energy from his body. Kang collapses to the ground, overwhelmed by the intense pain. The goblin, standing triumphantly, places its foot on Kang's back in a victory pose. It begins to laugh, the sound echoing through the empty building. Believing Kang to be dead, the goblin steps back and starts to walk away, taunting Kang one last time. It mutters in its own language, but Kang understands the tone. I didn't know humans were still alive in this world. As the goblin leaves, Kang lies motionless on the ground, but as his vision starts to fade, a faint smile forms on his lips. As soon as Kang dies, he resurrects. The moment he wakes up, he curses the goblin under his breath. Rage boils over as Kang swears to himself that he will kill that goblin and slaughter its entire family. The fire of revenge burns in his eyes as he finally takes a deep breath, trying to calm his trembling body. At that moment, the system notifies Kang that he has completed the quest. Kang has successfully survived the first night of hell, but the notifications don't stop there. The system adds that Kang has performed better than expected. Because of his exceptional performance, Kang will receive not just a silver box, but a golden reward box. Furthermore, the system reveals that since Kang has completed the quest, he can now use the written stone to exit hell. After 14 days, a new quest will begin. Hearing the mention of the written stone, Kang instantly realizes that it refers to his necklace. As soon as Kang grabs hold of it, the necklace begins to glow. His vision fades to darkness and everything around him disappears. When Kang opens his eyes again, he finds himself lying on the ground. Heavy rain pours down from the sky, soaking him completely. Slowly, the realization dawns. He is no longer in hell. Kang is back in the real world. Seeing the familiar surroundings, Kang feels a surge of joy. Unable to contain his excitement, he raises his hands to the sky and shouts loudly, declaring his return. His laughter echoes through the rain as he grabs the necklace around his neck. With sudden anger, Kang rips it off and throws it onto the ground, shouting that everything that happened to him was because of this piece of shit necklace. He swears he will crush it right then and there. But as Kang raises his foot to smash it, he hesitates. A thought pierces through his anger. Despite the hellish treatment he endured, the experience had given him unique and dangerous abilities. For the first time, he had awakened, something he had always dreamed of. Kang can't bring himself to destroy the necklace. Instead, he holds it tightly in his hands, tears streaming down his face as he thinks to himself, "I did it! I survived!" Lost in his thoughts, Kang doesn't notice a voice calling out to him. A female voice shouts his name, snapping him back to reality. Turning, Kang sees a woman running toward him through the rain. She scolds him loudly, asking why he's lying there soaked in the rain. Doesn't he realize he could fall sick? The woman reaches Kang and without hesitation removes her jacket and wraps it around his shoulders. The warmth of the jacket is surprising, and Kang realizes that the woman is none other than Yu Min, his childhood friend. Yu Min's worried expression mirrors the concern in her voice as she scolds him for standing in front of contaminated sea waste. She warns him that if he stays there any longer, he might get poisoned. Yu Min, seeing Kang's drenched state, insists he come to her home. Kang remains seated, confused and overwhelmed. He wonders, why is such a beautiful woman, my childhood friend, suddenly inviting me to her home? His thoughts race as he tries to make sense of the situation. The next thing Kang knows, he is at Yu Min's house. Yu Min has wrapped him snugly in her jacket, the way a mother would wrap her child after a bath. Kang stands there, calling out to Yu-min, still unsure of how to process everything happening. Yu-min approaches him with a warm smile, holding a mana contamination remover in her hands. She tells Kong that he should use it on his body just in case there's any mana poisoning lingering from his time in hell. Kong rolls his eyes, annoyed by the suggestion, and tells Yu-min not to bother with it. But Yu-min's expression hardens and she shouts at Kang. Her voice rises with frustration as she scolds him for treating his body so carelessly. She tells him that if he continues this reckless behavior, she'll have to attend his funeral in just a few days. Kang, taken aback by her intensity, finally agrees to use the mana contamination remover. The scene shifts, and we see Kang emerging from the bathroom. His hair is damp and his expression is thoughtful. As he steps out, Yu-min looks up at him and asks a simple yet jarring question. What is today's date? On the other hand, Yu-min is sitting quietly reading a book. She casually mentions to Kang that today is the 11th of September. As Yu-min glances at Kang, something catches her eye. She notices that Kang's body has changed significantly. Kang, who once appeared weak and frail, now has six-pack abs and a physique that could only be described as handsome and gorgeous. Yu-min finds herself unable to look away, her gaze fixed on Kang. Finally, she asks Kang if he has done something to his body in the past 2 days, noting that he looks noticeably different. She recalls trying to contact Kang multiple times during the past 2 days, but being unable to reach him. Yu-min's stare intensifies, her eyes scanning Kang's transformed figure. She keeps looking at Kang with a mix of curiosity and disbelief. On the other hand, Kang's thoughts are elsewhere. He reflects on the fact that he has spent over 2 years in hell, a detail he has yet to share. Meanwhile, Yu-min struggles to control her naughty thoughts. She whispers to herself that she needs to regain her composure. Kang, noticing Yu-min's intense gaze, feels the growing awkwardness. He grabs a towel and quickly covers his chest, while Kang successfully covers his upper body. What about his lower part? This adding another layer of awkwardness to the situation. Yu-min, trying to ease the tension, comments that Kang can't stay there without proper clothes. She hands him some of her clothes to wear, trying to maintain a neutral tone. Kang hesitates, uncomfortable with the idea of wearing Yu-min's clothes. Sensing his reluctance, Yu-min points out his own torn, contaminated clothes and insists he has no other option. With a slight scolding tone, she leaves the room, leaving Kang to decide. Eventually, Kang relents and puts on Yu-min's clothes. Once dressed, Kang wonders if his system notifications will function in this world. Opening his inventory, he is relieved to see that everything works perfectly. Testing it further, Kang opens his golden reward box. Inside, he finds glowing silver and golden tickets, one of which is randomly selected. The system notifies Kang that he has acquired a legendary skill, Battle Helper. Kang is momentarily stunned. He knows that in Korea, only 7 people possess a legendary skill. Even a rare skill guarantees special treatment, but a legendary skill exists on an entirely different level. Kang begins to wonder, could I become the 8th legendary hunter? Could I achieve an SSS rank like the others? As his mind races, he clenches his fists, thinking, if I punch hard enough, will this skill activate automatically? Lost in thought, Kang starts punching the air furiously, testing the limits of his new ability. Yu-min notices Kang's odd behavior and freezes, unsure of what to say. The two share an awkward moment as Kang realizes how strange he looked. He opens his mouth, struggling to find an explanation, but words fail him. Yu-min, feeling equally uncomfortable, finally breaks the silence and says she'll pretend she didn't see anything. Kang nods in agreement, relieved the moment has passed. After regaining his composure, Kang asks Yu-min about her mana crystal research. She confirms that she is indeed studying mana crystals. Kang grins and tells her he has something interesting to show. Opening his inventory, Kang summons a huge piece of mana crystal. Yu-min's jaw drops as the crystal appears in Kang's hands. The sheer size and weight, almost 1 kilogram, leaves her speechless. Her mind struggles to process what she's seeing, and she mutters in disbelief that this cannot be real. Kang, holding the crystal confidently, suggests that Yu-min examine it to determine if it's genuine. Still stunned, Yu-min feels as though her soul has momentarily left her body. The absurdity of the situation overwhelms her as she struggles to find the words to respond. The scene ends with Kang standing proudly, the mana crystal in his hands, while Yu-min stares at it in stunned silence, unable to comprehend what just happened. Thank you for watching it. After that, Yu-min, staring at the crystal mousse, exclaims that it is impossible to find such a large and pure crystal mousse. She questions Kong, wondering where he could have found it. Kong responds by asking if it is truly necessary for her to know where he got it. Yu-min firmly states that it is very important to know because the glow of the crystal mousse reflects its purity. She explains that such a high-quality crystal mousse can only be found in S-rank dungeons, which are incredibly rare and difficult to clear. Only 5 or 6 such dungeons exist worldwide, making it nearly impossible to obtain outside of those locations. Kang, hearing her explanation, smirks and asks if Yu-min chose the dangerous work of a collector in this seaway just to obtain low-level crystal mousse for research purposes. Yu-min confirms, explaining that was her exact intention. Kang begins laughing loudly and tells her that first of all, Kang has no intention of giving this pure crystal mousse to her for free. But if she does something for Kang, then maybe Kang will give it to her for research without charge. Hearing this, Yu-min becomes visibly angry, clenching her teeth in frustration. She asks Kang what exactly he wants. Kang calmly tells her that she must find a buyer willing to purchase all the crystal mousse he has collected. Yu-min, still irritated, explains that selling such a large and pure crystal mousse will require multiple documents and legal proceedings. The size alone makes it nearly impossible to sell without complications. Kang, shrugging off her concerns, replies that if the size is a problem, then there is no issue. Without hesitation, Kang breaks the crystal mousse into 2 pieces right in front of her. Yu-min feels like her soul has left her body. She becomes enraged, screaming at Kang and hitting him on the back. She accuses him of destroying a 5-star crystal mousse and explains that by breaking it, the purity and value of the crystal mousse have decreased significantly. Through her tears, Yu-min expresses her disappointment, saying that she had hoped to research an unbroken, pristine crystal mousse, and now her dream has been shattered. Kang, seeing her crying, attempts to console her. He assures Yu-min that if she helps him sell the crystal mousse, he has many more pieces that are completely untouched and fresh, which she can use for her research. However, Kang sets down 2 conditions. The first is that no one should know that Kang is the seller. The second is that no one should discover the origin of the crystal mousse. Yu-min, still emotional, agrees to these terms, wiping away her tears. After everything is settled, Kang tells Yu-min that he should leave now that they've reached an agreement. Picking up his wet clothes, he casually mentions that he'll buy dry ones from the market before heading out. But Yu-min interrupts with a dominating tone, telling Kang that he cannot leave and must stay at her house. Kang, surprised by her insistence, tries to protest, but Yu-min forcefully makes him stay. She ensures that Kang sleeps at her house for the night. The night passes uneventfully, and morning arrives. The scene shifts to Kang sitting on Yu-min's bed, his body naked. His chest glistens as though every ounce of strength has been drained from him, leaving him utterly exhausted. Sitting in silence, Kang thinks to himself, what a scary woman. Man, did he got laid. Wahahaha. Meanwhile, Yu-min's face glows with happiness. She cheerfully waves Kang goodbye as he leaves her house. Before parting, Yu-min promises to find a seller for the crystal mousse and assures Kang that she will handle everything. The scene shifts again, showing that a week has passed. Finally, Kang and Yu-min have located a potential buyer for the crystal mousse. Walking together, they head toward the seller, prepared to complete the deal. Kang decides to accompany Yu-min to ensure everything goes smoothly. Yu-min asks Kang if he thinks trading crystal mousse is so dangerous that gangsters might show up. She teases Kang for overthinking and wonders why Kang insists on coming along. On the other hand, Kang feels uneasy. Crystal mousse is extremely rare and dangerous, and Kang worries they might attack Yu-min. His suspicion grows stronger as they approach the location of the deal. Kang finally arrives at the meeting spot. He notices a muscular, Hulk-like figure staring directly at him. Kang is convinced that this man is the buyer, and he feels relieved he decided to accompany Yu-min. Kang even imagines this buyer might have planned to kill Yu-min, but then Yu-min approaches a different table where an old man is seated. The old man calmly introduces himself as Hisoka. Meanwhile, the muscular man Kang initially suspected rushes over to feed a cat. This unexpected act softens Kang's suspicion, but he remains cautious. Hisoka shakes hands with Kang, and immediately Kang notices Hisoka's iron grip. Kang realizes that if they were to fight, he wouldn't stand a chance against this old man. Despite Kang's continued doubts, the trade proceeds. Hisoka inspects a small piece of the crystal, confirming its purity. He assures Yu-min that the transaction is complete and that the money will soon be transferred to her account. Hisoka then bows politely, greeting everyone as he takes his leave. However, the moment Hisoka bows, a chill runs through Kang's body. Kang senses an undeniable danger from the man. Yumin, on the other hand, is puzzled. She notes that Hisoka has never been this polite before. Kang grows even more suspicious, convinced that Hisoka might have figured out Kang was the one who found the crystal. Kang silently resolves to stay cautious. After the trade, Yumin can't resist teasing Kang. She jokes that Kang had expected gangsters to show up armed with guns or swords for the crystal. She playfully slaps his back and tells him to grow up. Moments later, Yumin's phone rings. She excitedly shows Kang her screen, revealing the $1 million transaction. Yumin grins and asks if Kang has ever seen so much money. She answers her own question, saying she knows Kang hasn't. The scene shifts, and we see Hisoka sitting in his car. He places a bag full of crystal mousse beside him. Hisoka speaks to someone confirming the trade's success. They discuss how crystal mousse has recently flooded the black market and is being sold in pieces. However, they suspect all these fragments come from the same crystal mousse, likely retrieved from an S-rank dungeon. The unknown man mentions that whoever obtained this crystal must be a highly skilled hunter. The old man speculates that the hunter might be a foreigner, given how well hidden they've remained. But then, Hisoka reveals his suspicion. He believes the hunter is Kang. The scene shifts again, revealing the face of a familiar figure, Lee Jae-tae, Korea's top S-rank hunter. Lee Jae-tae instructs Hisoka to keep an eye on both Yumin and Kang and report back to him. After that, the scene shifts, showing that another week has passed. Finally, 14 days have gone by, and the time has come for Kang to return to Hell. Kang, now back in Hell, is exercising relentlessly on a benching rod, pushing his limits. He repeatedly performs pull-ups, his body moving with precision and power. Kang completes 150 pull-ups, and damn, it's clear that his physique has become insanely dangerous. After finishing the set, Kang drops to the ground, his breathing heavy. The intense atmosphere of Hell weighs on him. The gravity here is 10 times stronger than on Earth, making every movement a challenge. Lying flat on the ground, Kang mutters that if he were on Earth, he could easily do 1,000 more pull-ups, but in Hell, it's simply not possible. Exhausted, he sprawls out, staring up at the sky, and decides to check the system. The notification shows there are still 18 hours left before the next quest begins. Holding his ancestor's pendant tightly, Kang closes his eyes and reflects. He explains that after going back and forth between Earth and Hell many times, he has finally figured out how it works. During an active quest, Kang cannot return to Earth, but the moment the quest ends, he has the ability to travel freely between the two worlds. However, there's one big problem. He always teleports to a random location. Every time Kang travels from Hell to Earth, or Earth to Hell, he ends up in a completely different place. This constant location change leaves Kang feeling irritated and frustrated. Glaring at the sky, Kang shouts loudly, "Why the hell does this location change every time?" His voice echoes across the desolate landscape. Sitting on the ground, Kang looks troubled, his mind racing as he tries to figure out how to solve this location problem. He clenches his fists, determination building, and decides to distract himself by testing his other skills. Kang activates his battle helper and takes off his shirt, revealing his ripped physique. While carefully bandaging his hands, he thinks to himself that the battle helper feels like an illegal cheat or hack, a skill too powerful to be real. Standing in front of a tied punching bag, Kang focuses intensely. He wonders if the battle helper will activate the moment he lands a punch. Fixing his gaze on the bag, Kang concentrates deeply and unleashes a powerful punch. The moment his fist connects, the battle helper's skill activates. Kang's body begins moving autonomously, as though it's acting on its own. His punches grow heavier and more precise, each one landing in the exact same spot with devastating force. Kang notices that wherever he focuses his attention on the punching bag, his body automatically delivers heavy, calculated strikes to that exact location. It's as if his mind and body are perfectly synchronized, his punches powered by an unseen force. Kang's realization deepens. This skill is not just powerful, it's almost unstoppable. In a matter of seconds, Kang lands a devastating punch on the punching bag, causing it to break into two pieces and shatter completely. Kang looks at the results of his strike and realizes that this ability feels like an aimbot, a genuine cheat skill. He smirks, feeling the confidence surging through him. This is an awesome and extraordinary ability, one that makes him feel unstoppable. At that moment, the system notifies Kang that a new quest has started. The name of the quest flashes across the window, a beginner-friendly quest. Kang, glancing at the notification, is surprised. His eyebrows furrow as he reads the quest details, which instruct him to defeat 5 beginner scarecrows. Kang stares at the system window and yells at it angrily, complaining that he is now level 7, and yet the system has assigned him a beginner-level quest. He grumbles, asking if the system has lost its mind, but after venting his frustration, Kang resigns himself to the task. "What choice do I have?" he mutters, deciding to deal with the scarecrows. The problem, however, is that Kang hasn't seen any scarecrows in this area. He stands confused, wondering where they might be. Suddenly, a thin smoke appears before his eyes, swirling as if guiding him towards something. Kang narrows his eyes, following the smoke as it leads him to an underground tunnel. The smoke beckons Kang to enter, and he hesitates briefly, thinking to himself that the scene feels straight out of a horror movie. Despite his unease, Kang doesn't delay and steps into the tunnel. The moment he enters, Kang's breath catches in his throat. Standing before him are 5 genuinely creepy scarecrows. Their twisted forms and lifeless stares send chills down his spine. Numbers are etched onto their heads, but there's no level displayed. These scarecrows look powerful, dangerous, and utterly horrifying. Kang grimaces, creeped out by their unsettling appearance. He mutters complaints at the system, wishing the scarecrows weren't so damn creepy. His imagination runs wild, picturing the scarecrows latching onto his chest like spiders in a horror film. The thought makes him shudder. Feeling uneasy, Kang decides to hide behind a piece of wood like a cautious predator. He throws a poison dart at one of the scarecrows, watching closely to see if it reacts. But to his surprise, the scarecrow doesn't move. A sense of relief washes over Kang. He feels happy and excited, thinking the scarecrows are nothing more than lifeless training dummies like punching bags. Convinced of their harmlessness, Kang steps forward confidently and punches one with all his strength. However, something feels weird. Kang steps back, frowning. Despite hitting the scarecrow with full power, it felt like punching cotton. There was no impact. As Kang processes the odd sensation, he notices something terrifying. The scarecrow starts to move. Its body twists and jerks in a creepy, unnatural way. Kang's heart pounds as all 5 scarecrows begin moving simultaneously. Their eyes glow red, and an ominous voice declares that they have recognized their opponent. The scarecrows announce that they are also level 7, and the system informs Kang that the beginner level 1 battle has started. Kang stares at the notification, realizing that the scarecrows have matched his level. He mutters to himself that nothing in hell can ever be normal. Before Kang can react, the scarecrows attack with full force. All 5 charge at him, their movements coordinated and swift. Kang thinks to himself how a level 7 awakening in the real world would earn him respect and prestige, treating him like a soldier or bodyguard. But here in hell, level 7 is just the beginning. The thought pisses Kang off. "You bitches!" he yells, swearing at the scarecrows. Anger surging through him, Kang activates his battle helper skill. With his fists clenched and his determination ignited, Kang charges forward to face the scarecrows head-on. But it wasn't as easy as Kang thought. Despite activating the battle helper, Kang struggled to land any significant blows on the scarecrows. It felt as though the scarecrows had a battle helper of their own, their attacks sharp and relentless. Kang dodged their strikes as best as he could while delivering punches of his own. Yet his efforts seemed futile. The scarecrows weren't taking any damage. Suddenly, one of the scarecrows grabbed Kang by the neck, its grip tight and unyielding. Kang, refusing to back down, punched the scarecrow with all his strength. Finally, Kang saw results. Half of the scarecrow's face cracked under the force of his punch. For a moment, Kang thought his attack had worked. But before he could celebrate, the scarecrow's movements grew disturbingly unnatural. Its right eye glowed brighter, an ominous red, and it looked even more deadly. The scarecrow's voice echoed eerily, declaring, "Opponent data updated. Sparring level 2 initiated." As soon as level 2 began, the scarecrow's behavior became even more bizarre. 4 of them rushed Kang, grabbing his arms and legs, immobilizing him completely. The 5th scarecrow charged forward and slammed a punch into Kang's face. The attacks didn't stop there. The scarecrow continued to punch Kang's teeth, mouth, stomach, and body relentlessly. For 30 minutes, the scarecrow pummeled Kang without mercy. The blows were brutal, each one driving him closer to collapse. The system notified Kang that due to the beatings, his stamina, resistance, and health had all increased. Yet, Kang's body was left in shambles. Blood oozed from every pore, and every bone in his body felt shattered. The system then notified Kang that his health had fallen below 10%, triggering a full health restoration. As his body began to heal, Kang experienced an excruciatingly hellish pain. Every bone in his body broke further before painfully fusing back together, piece by piece. The feeling was unbearable, as if his body was being torn apart and rebuilt simultaneously. Kang sat motionless, like a lifeless corpse, the pain leaving him stunned. For 2 seconds, he debated whether he should simply run away. He thought bitterly about how hard he had tried, yet he hadn't managed to seriously damage even one scarecrow. But Kang didn't run. Slowly, he rose to his feet, his movements stiff and zombie-like. Gritting his teeth, he muttered to himself that the scarecrows were using some weird martial art, and if that was the case, he would need a weapon. Opening his inventory, Kang retrieved his legendary stick. The moment he grabbed it, the golden glow of the weapon lit up the space. Kang, holding the strong and radiant piece of wood, assumed a battle-ready position. With determination in his eyes, he vowed that he would break every single part of the scarecrow's bodies. The system notified him that this wasn't an ordinary piece of wood, it was a hideous club, strengthened with incredible power. Its attacks were devastatingly impactful. Kang charged forward, his legendary weapon gleaming, and swung it hard at Scarecrow #1. The force of the strike shattered the Scarecrow's arm, breaking it clean off. For the first time, Kang felt a glimmer of victory. He was happy, convinced he could finally defeat the Scarecrows. But his relief was short-lived. The Scarecrow with the broken arm looked at its injury and began moving in that same creepy way. Its battle tactics updated, and to Kang's shock, the Scarecrow's hand regrew almost instantly. The surprises didn't end there. The remaining Scarecrows all began to move simultaneously. Each one reached into its frame and pulled out deadly weapons, their appearances becoming even more terrifying. Kang, clutching his weapon tightly, realized that this battle was far from over. This was only the beginning. One Scarecrow draws a sword, another hefts a hammer, the third brandishes an axe, and the fourth wields a massive hammer. Armed with these devastating weapons, they shatter Kang's body piece by piece. The system coldly notifies Kang that he survived for 5 days, 8 hours, and 4 minutes. The scene shifts, revealing Kang barely clinging to survival, fighting the Scarecrows with all his might. Desperation forces him to tie 2 Scarecrows to a pillar, reducing the number of active enemies he must face. Even so, the fight is grueling. Kang pushes himself to the brink, and through the relentless battle, his level begins to increase. Finally, Kang activates his battle helper and lands a powerful blow on the chest of one of the Scarecrows. The impact breaks the robot's chest, revealing a mana crystal glowing in its core. Kang stares at it, a thought crossing his mind. If I destroy the crystal, can I kill the robot? Kang prepares for the decisive strike, but before he can destroy the core, the robot heals itself. Its voice rings out, announcing, "Sparring level 3 has begun." The Scarecrow's body grows stronger, its movements faster and more precise. Kang, watching the transformation, smirks despite the odds and mutters that, as the robot grows stronger, he grows stronger too. A twisted sense of enjoyment creeps in. He's having fun in the middle of this chaos. But the moment of thrill is short-lived. The robot suddenly climbs onto Kang's body, and with a swift and brutal strike, shatters Kang's head. Kang dies instantly, but his suffering is far from over. Time and time again, the robots kill him in different horrifying ways. Once, a robot breaks his back. Another time, his entire body is crushed beyond recognition. Again, his head is shattered. The cycle of death repeats until Kang dies so many times that the pain begins to fade, leaving him numb. After more than 50 deaths, Kang's frustration boils over. Glaring at the Scarecrows, he shouts in exasperation, "How much martial arts do you know?" The repeated beatings have left a strange imprint on Kang. He begins to feel as though he can use their martial arts himself. The Scarecrows move into their battle stances, preparing to attack, but Kang instinctively mirrors their movements. It's as if their techniques have etched themselves onto his body. Drawing on this newfound ability, Kang uses their martial arts against them. The fight escalates once again as the Scarecrows upgrade their battle tactics and restart the sparring. Kang feels a spark of excitement, a chance to test his skills, but his excitement is short-lived. One robot lunges forward and gouges Kang's eyes, its hands crushing his sockets with precision. Kang screams in agony, clutching his face as blood pours down. Before he can recover, the robot opens its jagged mouth and bites down on Kang's feet like a rabid dog. The pain is unbearable. Kang's screams echo across the battlefield as he yells in disbelief, "What are you? A fucking dog!" But the robot doesn't stop. It gnaws at Kang's feet, its sharp teeth tearing through flesh and bone. Slowly, methodically, the robot begins devouring Kang's entire body, piece by piece. Kong's voice grows hoarse from screaming as the horror unfolds, and eventually, the robot finishes its gruesome feast. Kang dies once again. As soon as Kong wakes up, he realizes that this is the 90th time he has died. So far, Kong has mastered almost all the martial arts of the scarecrows. Using those techniques, Kong is now able to fight the scarecrows on equal footing and even defeat them. Kong understands one thing clearly: if he doesn't beat the scarecrows, he won't survive. As he prepares for the next attack, Kang suddenly feels a strange sensation coursing through his body. He winds up his fist, pulling it behind his back, and punches forward with all his strength. To Kang's shock, an energy blast erupts from his punch, surging forward and destroying all the scarecrows at once. Kang stands frozen, staring at the aftermath, his eyes wide with disbelief. He can't understand how he managed to pull off such an amazing and strange feat. The system promptly notifies Kang that he has completed the beginner-level quest. Overwhelmed with relief, Kang screams loudly, his voice echoing through the empty battlefield. The exhaustion from dying 90 times finally catches up to him, and he collapses to the ground, breathing heavily. Looking at his trembling hands, Kang mutters, "How could this scarecrow quest be a beginner-level challenge? If this was beginner-level, what kinds of quests will I have to face in the future?" Still, Kang reasons that maybe the quest's goal was to teach him martial arts. But deep down, Kang knows it felt more like the scarecrows beat the shit out of him and forcefully embedded their martial arts into his body. Despite the pain, Kang smiles. He's happy, knowing he has learned their techniques. Deciding to check his rewards, Kong opens the system window. The system notifies him that, because of his SSS rank good luck, his reward has been enhanced. Kang receives the Chandelier of Heaven's cloak, a legendary yellow wrapping cloth. Kang stares at the cloth, confused. He asks himself, what is a wrapping cloth? The system explains that this is a legendary grade equipment. It can accelerate Kang's growth and fully restore any damaged body part. Kang carefully places the cloth on his hand, studying it. He wonders if the damage reduction ability will even work since his health is nearly fully restored every time he dies. Thinking further, Kang ponders how to use the growth ability of the cloth. An idea strikes him. What if I tie it to my head? Will it increase my IQ? Amused by the thought, Kang ties the cloth around his head and sits there waiting. After a few awkward moments of absolutely nothing happening, Kang feels a wave of intense shyness wash over him. Kang sighs and pulls the cloth off his head, mumbling that after coming to hell, he's been doing some really dumb and strange things. Embarrassed, he reassures himself that at least no one was around to see him like this. Convinced the cloth might be useless, Kang decides he'll sell it when he returns to the real world. Being a legendary item, it should fetch a good price. But as Kang opens his inventory to store the cloth, his eyes land on the legendary mosquito egg. A new idea forms in Kang's mind. He wraps the legendary growth cloth around the egg, thinking, if this cloth enhances growth, maybe it'll hatch the egg. After waiting a while with no visible changes, Kang starts to think the plan isn't working. He moves to remove the cloth, but suddenly it begins to glow intensely. The light grows brighter and the cloth starts to disappear, sparkling as it vanishes. Kang stares, shocked, as the egg beneath the cloth begins to turn golden. Cracks start forming along the egg's surface, and Kang feels a chill run down his spine. As the egg starts to hatch slowly, Kang's fear rises. He thinks to himself, this is hell. What the hell could be inside? As Kang stares at the glowing egg, a troubling thought crosses his mind. What if a dangerous monster emerges? This is hell, after all, and whatever comes out could be so powerful that Kang wouldn't stand a chance. As Kang grapples with this possibility, the egg cracks open, emitting an intense light. The glow is so bright that Kang instinctively shields his eyes. When the light finally subsides, Kang looks up and sees something entirely unexpected. Inside the egg lies a scene straight out of a Barbie doll's house. A soft, cozy setup. Resting in the middle of it all is a cute little girl sleeping peacefully. Kang freezes in shock, his expectations of a terrifying demonic monster shattered. The girl stirs, her dark black eyes with red pupils opening slowly. Her gaze is both innocent and ominous, as if she is a demon in disguise. She blinks a few times, her movements slow and adorable. Finally, she rises gently, stepping out of the egg and standing on the ground. Kang's eyes widen as he takes in her tiny stature. Is this a fairy? He wonders. He had been bracing himself for a monstrous demon, but this cute little creature leaves him momentarily dumbfounded. A smile creeps across Kang's face as he steps closer. Kang reaches out a finger to gently touch her cheek, intending to tickle her affectionately, but the fairy surprises him. She stretches her hands toward Kang, then bites his finger with sharp teeth and begins sucking his blood. Pain shoots through Kang's hand, and he screams, frantically shaking his arm to dislodge the fairy. His wild flailing causes her to slam into the roof before falling to the ground with a thud. Kang clutches his hand, shouting in frustration, "What kind of shitty reward is this? This is a crazy cannibal monster. Is the system playing pranks on me?" The little fairy sits up, looking hurt and sad. Tears well up in her eyes as she softly tells Kang that she's very hungry. Kang turns to look at her, now resembling a cute and helpless kitten, her gaze almost seductive in its innocence. Kang sighs heavily, torn between frustration and pity. He pulls out a candy and offers it to her, but the fairy shakes her head. Kang frowns and asks what she wants to eat. She points at him with a mischievous smile, clearly indicating she wants to eat Kang. The realization dawns on Kang, and he mutters to himself, she really is a cannibal monster. Deciding to avoid further conflict, Kang reluctantly lets the fairy suck his blood. The fairy flies over, perches on Kang's hand, and pierces his skin with her tiny straw-like mouth, drawing his blood. Kang grimaces in pain, telling her to stop, but the fairy reassures him in a chirpy voice, saying he doesn't need to worry. She'll stop as soon as she's full. Minutes pass, and Kang finally feels relief as the fairy stops feeding. But to his annoyance, she starts licking the wound on his hand, which only makes him more uncomfortable. Observing her, Kang realizes something. This egg was made by combining mosquitoes, which means this creature is a mosquito fairy. The fairy hovers in front of Kang, looking satisfied and even arrogant. She declares she's full and calls Kang her slave. Anger boils over, and Kang grabs the fairy, squeezing her tightly. Through gritted teeth, he demands, "Tell me again, who's the slave?" The fairy, unfazed, thanks Kang sweetly while still calling him a servant. Kang squeezes harder, prompting her to upgrade his title to butler, which only fuels his irritation. Finally, under his unrelenting grip, she reluctantly calls him Kang by name. Kang introduces himself properly, saying his name is Kang, and asks what her name is. The fairy starts to answer, but suddenly stops. A confused look crosses her face. She can't remember her name or her past life. The fairy struggles to recall her identity but comes up blank. Kang, feeling exasperated yet relieved, says he'll simply call her Mosquito Fairy since she came from a mosquito. Hearing this, the fairy's face twists in anger. Suddenly, a memory surfaces. The fairy declares that she doesn't know her name, but she remembers her purpose. She reveals that she once promised that when the world ends, she will eat all living beings on Earth. As she says this, the fairy gives a cute but chilling smile. Kang, on the other hand, feels his blood run cold. His mouth hangs open in shock, and he whispers to himself, "Is she really a dangerous monster? Should I kill her now?" After that, Kang asks the Mosquito Fairy if what she just said is true. The Mosquito Fairy, blushing slightly, looks proud, as though she's just achieved something incredible. She confidently tells Kang that she did indeed promise to come and eat all the living beings as soon as the world ends. Kang's fear intensifies. He realizes just how dangerous this situation is. Kang recalls how, moments earlier, a single drop of his blood could have caused chaos when it fell on the goblin. Yet, the Mosquito Fairy drank all of his blood and was completely unaffected. This could only mean one thing. She's telling the truth, and she's genuinely as dangerous as she claims. But as Kang looks at her closely, he notices her cute and innocent demeanor, which gives him a glimmer of hope. If she's this cute, maybe I can tame her, he thinks. Kang reaches out to tickle the Mosquito Fairy, and she bursts into laughter, her demeanor instantly softening. Kang smiles and decides he'll try to tame her and keep her as a pet. Sitting on the floor, Kang addresses the Mosquito Fairy, reminding her of her ominous promise to eat all living beings. But before anything else, Kang suggests giving her a name since she doesn't have one. Kang declares that from today, her name will be Rainer. The Mosquito Fairy, now Rainer, looks delighted. She repeats the name softly and says it's a very good name. Kang feels a connection forming between them, something genuine and unexpected. At that moment, Kang tells Rainer that she has to promise him two things. First, she must not eat or drink the blood of any living human from this day forward. Hearing this, Rainer responds with a sly smile, saying that she'll eat everything in the world, but she won't eat Kang because his blood is too delicious. Kang frowns but clarifies his conditions. If Rainer wants to drink Kang's blood, she must follow two strict rules. She must never eat or drink the blood of any living human again. She must ask Kang's permission before eating any living being. If Rainer agrees, Kang promises to give her his blood every day. The mere thought of Kang's blood makes Rainer start drooling. Without hesitation, she agrees to Kang's conditions. Seeing her eagerness, Kang is happy but also a little surprised. Internally, Kang wonders, was it really this easy to tame such a dangerous demon? All I had to do was offer her my blood? The scene shifts as Rainer looks at the broken robots scattered around. She curiously asks Kang what they are. Kang, puffing up with pride, starts praising himself, recounting the hard work it took to defeat them. Suddenly, Kang gets an idea. He notices one of the robots with its upper part completely broken, as if it had been sliced clean in two. Kang stares at it, realizing this must have been the result of the mystic energy blast he had accidentally unleashed. Intrigued, Kang opens his system notification and discovers a new ability, Violent Energy. He stares at the notification for a moment, thinking about the potential of this skill. Deciding to test it, Kang smirks and prepares to unleash the power again. Kang recalls that the energy was activated the last time he used his martial arts to punch the Scarecrow. Determined to replicate the move, he activates his battle helper, winds up his fist, and focuses. Taking the name Violent Energy in his mind, Kang punches forward with full force. With a deafening bang, a Kai blast erupts from Kang's fist, tearing through the Scarecrow and shattering it into pieces. Kang looks at the aftermath, his smirk widening. The power coursing through him feels exhilarating. Kang knows he's only scratched the surface of what violent energy can truly do. Seeing the energy blast, Kang feels a surge of happiness and pride. Rainer, standing nearby, is clearly impressed and remarks with awe that Kang's attack was awesome. With a swoosh, Kang had managed to slice the Scarecrow into two pieces. Not wanting to be left behind, Rainer steps forward, her determination evident. She gathers her energy and unleashes a double-power ki blast, obliterating another Scarecrow into pieces. Kang's face falls, his shock visible, as if his soul has left his body. The sheer deadliness of Rainer's attack is almost twice as powerful as Kang's, leaving him both amazed and a little intimidated. At that moment, all the Scarecrows that Kang and Rainer had destroyed suddenly rise, their lifeless voices ringing out, "Opponent recognition complete!" Kang instinctively moves into a battle-ready stance, his body tense and ready for another fight. The Scarecrows begin to surround Kang, their movements deliberate and slow. They announce that they have detected a superhuman and start gesturing toward an unknown room. Kang, prepared for another round of combat, pauses when he notices that the Scarecrows aren't attacking. Instead, they are pointing to a destroyed room that seemingly appeared out of nowhere. Cautiously, Kang approaches the room, removing debris to investigate. He searches for anything important or special, his focus unwavering. Meanwhile, Rainer, standing nearby, wrinkles her nose and remarks that she smells something strange, yet oddly pleasant. Kang follows her gaze and discovers human remains, a skeletal body so dry that only the skull remains intact. Rainer steps closer, intrigued, and comments that the pleasant smell seems to be coming from the bones. To Kang's horror, Rainer picks up a bone and starts eating it as if it were a snack. Kang's shock quickly turns to anger. He immediately grabs Rainer, squeezing her tightly, and demands to know why she's eating someone's remains. Rainer, unbothered by his reaction, calmly replies that the person was already dead, so it shouldn't matter. Kang, still furious, shoves her away and shifts his attention to the letter clutched in the skeleton's hand. Kang carefully unfolds the letter and begins reading. The writer confesses to having made grave mistakes in their life, explaining how the dungeon's level had increased to nightmare level, resulting in catastrophic consequences. Children born in the toxic environment succumbed to death, and all ability users either committed suicide or died painful deaths. The letter ends with the chilling realization that humanity is slowly dying, and the writer had no idea what to do next. Kang stares at the letter, his mind racing. A chilling thought crosses his mind. Could this place represent the future of the real world? He speculates that in this future, all ability users may die as monsters grow too powerful, leaving humanity defenseless. Turning his attention to the pendant on the skeleton's remains, Kang picks it up and begins inspecting it. He wonders if this pendant belonged to the writer, and if it holds any secrets. He asks Rainer for the symbol pendant, hoping for more answers. The moment Kang touches the pendant, a blinding light erupts from it, sending waves of intense pain through his body. The glow intensifies, and the pendant suddenly shatters in his hand. A strange symbol emerges from the shattered pendant and burns itself onto Kang's hand, causing his hand to tremble violently. Kang stares at the mark, overwhelmed and confused, unsure of what it signifies. Before he can fully process what's happening, the system coldly notifies him. The stars are watching Kang. Suddenly, a dark portal begins to form in front of him. Its swirling form resembles a vast, endless universe, with a distant galaxy shimmering on the other side. The portal's pull grows stronger, slowly engulfing Kang's body. Rainer, standing nearby, watches the scene unfold. With a mischievous smirk, she says, "Good luck, Kang," and runs away, leaving him behind. Kang, desperate, reaches out his hand, calling for Rainer to return. But before he can do anything, the portal fully engulfs him, pulling him into its depths. When Kang opens his eyes, he finds himself floating in a galaxy, surrounded by stars and planets. To his surprise, he can breathe, though the environment feels surreal and otherworldly. Looking around, Kang mutters to himself, "Where on earth is this place?" Kang floats aimlessly in the vast universe, the endless expanse of stars and galaxies surrounding him. Confusion and frustration swirl in his mind as he shouts Rainer's name, his voice echoing in the void. Kang calls out to anyone, demanding to know, "Who brought Kang to this place?" Suddenly, the system interrupts his thoughts with a notification. It informs Kang that the advancing star Barul has recognized his star fragment. Before Kang can make sense of this cryptic message, a shining blue star appears before him. The star exudes a cold, judgmental aura, observing Kang silently. After a brief moment, the star seems disappointed, muttering something about Kang's potential and personality, before disappearing as abruptly as it arrived. Kang, feeling insulted, becomes irritated and shouts furiously at the blue star, "What's wrong with my personality?" His frustration builds as he begins yelling at the system, his voice filled with rage and confusion. The system calmly responds with a series of notifications. It explains in a deep, authoritative voice that these stars are celestial beings, rulers of their own territories scattered across the universe. Through these stars, they observe planets, seeking out potential disciples to grant their power. Once a disciple accepts, they conquer the disciple's planet, thereby increasing their influence and strength. Hearing this, Kang grows even more confused. "Why are these stars troubling Kang?" he mutters under his breath. As he clenches his fists, he glances at the symbol burned into his hand and realizes that it must be the reason behind all of this chaos. Before Kang can process further, 5 different colored stars descend from the sky and begin revolving around him. Their radiant forms cast an almost hypnotic glow as they observe Kang intently. The stars seem captivated by Kang's charm, determination, and iron-like body, each eager to make him their disciple. The system chimes in, notifying Kang that all the celestial beings want to invest in him. Kang feels his irritation rising again. "What is happening?" he growls, pointing his finger at the stars. The celestial beings suddenly move closer, overwhelming him with their presence. They begin introducing themselves one by one, their voices echoing in Kang's mind. The purple-blue star steps forward first. Identifying himself as the shattering star Gual, he takes the form of a demon with long, sharp fingers. He describes himself as the ruler of masses, a master of daggers, poison, and conspiracy. His power thrives in secrecy, hidden within the shadows of secret organizations. The green star follows, introducing himself as the walking star Varan, the father of grief and malice. He commands an army of the dead and finds joy in the despair of false hope and powerless struggles. Next, the purple-blue star, Yugul, announces himself as the snake of greed and desire. His realm is plagued by starvation and suffering, and his ambition is to consume everything in the universe. The golden star shines brightly as she steps forward. She introduces herself as the monarch ruler, a being capable of commanding others to kneel before her radiant power. Her brilliance blinds even the brightest lights, and her authority is absolute. Finally, the orange star speaks. Introducing himself as Ardos, he calls himself a warrior who advances with fire and slaughters his enemies with steel. He embodies strength and determination. Kang listens to their introductions, his face filled with disbelief. He sarcastically mutters, "Why do they all seem to have personality disorders?" The celestial beings hear Kang's remark and, to his shock, agree enthusiastically. They tell him they love his personality and that this is why they want to invest in him. Kang pauses, his irritation reaching its peak. He shouts, "So, according to you, Kang has a personality disorder?" The celestial beings nod in unison, their lack of shame leaving Kong utterly exasperated. He sits down like a lifeless stone, his mind racing. Finally, Kang speaks again, asking what he would gain if he chose one of them. At that moment, the blue star reappears, showing Kong a vision of his future self, one filled with immense achievements and power. Kong stares at the vision, then back at the stars. He begins to think critically, muttering, "Nothing in the world comes for free. If I take their power, there must be a hidden motive behind it." Kang rises to his feet, addressing the celestial beings with finality. "You all came to Kang, but Kang did not come to you. This means Kang has the right to reject your offers. When Kang feels like it, he will call you. Until then, Kong will decide nothing." With that, Kong waves dismissively and bids them goodbye. The celestial beings watch silently as a universal portal begins forming, pulling Kong back toward his reality. He breathes a sigh of relief, thinking he has finally returned to hell. But before the portal closes completely, the golden star slips through and appears in Kang's hell. Without warning, it cuts Kang's hand, causing intense pain. Kong clutches his hand in agony as the system notifies him that the celestial beings have unlocked his potential, granting him the legendary domain skill. Kang stares at his trembling hand, his voice rising with frustration. Does the star want to bribe Kang? What is this domain skill? How do I even use it? Looking at the star's symbol burned into his hand, Kong begins to question everything. Is this celestial being the one who created hell? Did they bring Kong here? His mind overflows with questions, but one thing remains clear: Kong's determination to grow stronger. After that, the scene shifts, showing Kong has finally returned to Earth. However, it has been 3 days since Kong made it back to the real world. Kang thought he could focus on getting stronger in hell, but upon his return, he realizes there are still many issues he must address in the real world. For instance, Kong never knew where he would end up when coming back, and when he finally did, he looked like a total beggar. People became scared just seeing him. We then see Kong arrive at Yumin's house, still looking like a beggar. Kong casually announces to Yumin that he wants to buy a house. Hearing this, Yumin becomes worried and tells Kong the question came out of nowhere. But Kong reassures her that he has money and everything necessary, so he needs a proper house. Kong firmly states that he can't live on rent anymore. However, Yumin taunts him, claiming that all the money Kong has have come illegally. Yumin warns that if Kang buys a very expensive house, he will get into great trouble. Yumin explains to Kang that if he truly wants to buy a house, he'll need to legalize his money. For that, Kong must become a hunter. As Yumin points out, hunters already have a lot of money and can easily buy houses. Kong sits in the kitchen cooking ramen while thinking over Yumin's words. He acknowledges that Yumin is right. If he suddenly buys a house without any legitimate reason, it will look suspicious. Kang recalls the stars that showed him visions of future success, deciding that he doesn't need their power. With an evil smirk, Kang boldly declares that he will achieve all his goals with his own power. He proclaims that even if his helper is the future of the real world, he will become so strong that he won't let that future come to Earth. Holding a chopstick like a hero, Kang stands dramatically, radiating determination. Seeing this, Yumin feels awkward and shy and quickly tells Kang to stop acting cool and just eat. Later, Kang and Yumin sit together at the table, eating. The TV plays in the background, showing Lee, Korea's S-rank hunter, who explains that dungeons have begun behaving strangely. He warns that monsters are emerging from dungeons at levels 1 rank higher than the dungeon's designated difficulty. These monsters are proving very difficult to kill with normal hunters. Kang watches the broadcast with intense focus, accidentally dropping food as he eats. Seeing this, Yumin gets angry and starts scolding him, telling Kang to finish his meal properly or else she'll eat him. Hearing this, Kang finally focuses on his food. However, his mind races with thoughts. He considers the possibility that the beginning of Earth's future hell has already started. The scene shifts, showing Kang at the Awakening Center to obtain his hunter's license. The place is bustling with activity, and Kang blends in with the crowd. His identification photo is taken first, and his face in the picture looks exactly like a gangster. Even the receptionist is shocked after seeing it. Next, Kong undergoes a blood test and is brought before a measuring machine. A person nearby checks the power levels of other applicants and shouts loudly that one candidate's level is 87. It's explained that anyone with a power level of 100 can become a hunter. Finally, Kang's turn arrives. He steps forward confidently and places his hand inside the machine. The instructor explains that Kang needs to catch the ball inside the machine and put all his power into it. As soon as Kang catches the ball, it explodes with a massive blast. Everyone is shocked. The room falls silent, all eyes on Kang. It's clear that something extraordinary just happened. Seeing the power level on the measuring machine, number 99999, Kang is completely shocked. The instructor standing nearby is equally startled. Kang wonders if he broke the machine by accident and nervously considers if he'll have to pay for the damage. Sitting there like a stone, Kang remains unsure of what to do while the instructors look at him in disbelief. They remark that even Lee, the silver golden-haired S-rank hunter, didn't break the measuring machine when checking his mana level. Despite their AW, Kang awkwardly asks the instructor what happens next. The instructor concludes that the machine must be broken and reassures Kang they will replace the crystal and test again. However, as soon as Kang retests, the machine breaks again, leaving everyone in shock. This time, Kang's level is left on pending, requiring detailed analysis. Adding to Kang's unease, his ability check is also put on hold, leaving him standing worried and unsure of his next steps. A flashback reveals Kang struggling to decide what ability to show. He settles on revealing his poison blood. Cutting his finger, Kang lets his green blood drip onto a plant, which immediately withers away. The high-level poison shocks everyone present. One instructor even faints from the overpowering smell. Later, Kang meets a receptionist who reviews his documents with a cold glare. She remarks that everyone seems to want to become a hunter these days. With a tone of disdain, she warns Kang about the risks of the hunter profession, emphasizing that hunters may earn a lot of money, but face death constantly. Kang responds firmly, explaining that he is not in it for money or fame. Instead, he feels a duty to protect the population. Quoting a well-known saying, Kang states, "With great power comes great responsibility." Internally, Kang chuckles, acknowledging he might have been inspired by the Spider-Man movie. With his documents in hand, Kang moves toward the next testing area. The scene shifts, showing two bodyguards in black suits opening a black Rolls-Royce. From the car steps Lee, an S-rank hunter. A crowd gathers to catch a glimpse of him. Lee asks his bodyguard about the preparations. The bodyguard replies that everything is going smoothly and mentions that many members from the Red Butterfly Guild are also taking the test this year, making the hunter license exam highly competitive. Inside, an instructor informs Lee about a strange application. The applicant's mana level couldn't be measured by the machine, which may be broken. The applicant also possesses a rare ability, blood poison. Hearing this, Lee dismisses the ability as useless for group missions, noting that Kang's poisonous blood could harm his teammates if they come into contact with it during a monster attack. However, Lee recalls that Kang is the same person Lee had instructed his old butler to investigate. Deciding that Kang might be hiding something, Lee resolves to observe him closely. The contestants, including Kang, gather in a large room. An instructor hands each participant a purple crystal without providing any explanation. When Kang asks why they are being given the crystals, the instructor walks away without answering. Shortly after, a door opens, and Kang finds himself in a deserted location. Unknown to the participants, Lee is watching the scene unfold through a CCTV camera in his room. The deserted city is revealed to be a replica of a 2-star dungeon located in Ukraine. Holding the purple crystal, Kang listens as an announcement explains the goal of the test. There are over 100 contestants, each possessing a purple crystal. In 3 hours, the contestant with the most crystals will pass the test. Standing confidently with the crystal in hand, Kang feels excited to finally use his powers in real life. After that, we learn that every human being has a crystal, and by defeating monsters, they receive a random crystal ranging from 1 to 3. In the group, there's a spectacled man who appears to be the leader. He discusses his plan with 3 others, strategizing how to complete the test together. The spectacled man notices Kang and suggests Kang join their group. Kang, visibly annoyed, digs into his ears. While showing the dirt to them, he gives a taunting smile and confidently states that he has no interest in joining a group of losers. Hearing this, the spectacled man is shocked and attempts to convince Kang, explaining that his team has a musclehead with a shield and a healer. Their group is strong and capable. However, Kang nonchalantly replies that he doesn't like group fights and prefers to fight alone. As Kang starts to leave, the musclehead becomes furious, feeling insulted. He grabs Kang's collar and demands that Kang hand over his crystal before someone else takes it. Instead of reacting fearfully, Kang slaps the musclehead to the ground with ease. Kang then smirks and, in an evil tone, tells everyone that if they don't want to end up like the musclehead, they should hand over their crystals. The spectacled man immediately gives his crystal to Kang, surprising him. Kang asks why he handed it over so easily. The spectacled man explains that the musclehead was their strongest member, and now that Kang defeated him so effortlessly, they stand no chance. After collecting all the crystals, Kang leaves. Meanwhile, Lee and his manager observe everything from their surveillance room. Lee comments that as soon as the test began, the red butterfly snatched crystals from his team and now leads the rankings. Lee adds that the red butterfly is so strong that it can clear a 2-star dungeon alone and even assist in 3-star dungeons. The manager, surprised, remarks that a 3-star dungeon is B rank, which is no small feat. At the same time, the red butterfly faces a muscular robot. This robot resembles the one Kang faced in Hell. The manager asks Lee about the robot, and Lee explains that it's a prototype created by W&D Industry, designed to be as strong as a 2-star monster. The robot is extremely durable and can withstand multiple hunters' attacks. Lee mentions that even 15 hunters struggle against this machine. As they watch, the red butterfly fights the robot but struggles to defeat it. Suddenly, Lee notices Kang standing before the same robot. Lee laughs, saying this is going to be interesting. Kang, visibly disappointed and annoyed, punches the robot with raw power, pushing it back. Without stopping, Kang activates his battle helper, grabs the robot's leg, breaks it, and throws it far away. The scene zooms out, revealing Kang standing amidst a pile of broken robots, holding his head and screaming. He has defeated and destroyed more than 20 robots. Holding a broken robot's body, Kang sarcastically remarks that this robot is much weaker than the ones in Hell. He taunts, calling them stupid toys. Using his dismantle ability, Kang extracts the crystal from the robot, recalling that in Hell the system prevented him from using this ability on the scarecrows. Then an announcement is made stating that 34 minutes have passed and more than half of the hunters have failed. The rankings are displayed. In third place is Muscle Mommy, and damn, she have some impressive muscle. In second place is the Red Butterfly with 9 crystals, and in first place, Kang holds 16 crystals. Kang smirks confidently, happy and proud to see his name at the top of the rankings. After that, Kang plays with a robot's head and smugly remarks that he always knew he would be number 1, because this robot looks like a downgraded version of the scarecrow he faced in Hell. Kang then removes the thick leather from the robot's body, contemplating that perhaps he can create something useful out of it. Kang wraps the leather around his hand, imagining a piece of armor, and with his creation ability, he crafts guards for his hands and legs. Although it's common ranked, Kang is very pleased with his creation, proud that he turned the robot into something useful. Kang, filled with confidence, sets out to defeat more robots. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Red Butterfly, who notices her second-place position and grows concerned about Kang. She wonders, who is this Kang? Before she can dwell further, other hunters attack her, attempting to steal her crystals. Red Butterfly leaps into the air, but for God's sake, what with this ass-busting poses? And unleashes a powerful energy blast, defeating all the hunters in an instant. Despite her victory, there are still more than 100 hunters surrounding her. Suddenly, Muscle Mommy arrives like a rampaging beast, throwing hunters left and right. Muscle Mommy rushes to Red Butterfly, concerned that she might have been hurt. It becomes evident that Muscle Mommy has a sister complex, caring deeply for Red Butterfly. Alongside Muscle Mommy are the spectacled man from earlier and a silver-haired woman. Muscle Mommy proudly announces that their group holds 88 crystals and suggests giving them all to Red Butterfly to ensure she claims first place. However, Red Butterfly refuses the offer, sternly instructing everyone to stay put. Without hesitation, Red Butterfly flies away. The scene shifts again to Lee and his manager. Lee, watching the test, wonders aloud how Kang has managed to become so strong. Although Lee suspected Kang was special, he never imagined Kang would rise to the top rankings. Lee speculates that Kang must have illegally explored a dungeon because there's no record of Kang's abilities. Despite this, Kang doesn't appear to have a criminal background. Lee, thoroughly intrigued, likens Kang and Red Butterfly to toys in a game. He looks forward to the clash between them. Meanwhile, Kang, hungry and exhausted, contemplates eating the leather he took from the robot. The moment he bites into it, disgust takes over, and he vomits immediately. Kang laments that his brain is acting strangely. Suddenly, he senses someone approaching at high speed. It's Red Butterfly, who attacks like a bumblebee. Kang easily dodges the attack. Red Butterfly assumes a battle stance and questions if Kang is alone or has a team. Kang, with a confident smirk, lies that he has 150 lackeys waiting for his command. Red Butterfly pauses, sees through the bluff, and confirms that Kang is alone. With a serious tone, Red Butterfly declares that she'll enjoy this fight. She activates her martial arts and charges at Kang. Kang quickly realizes that Red Butterfly is level 14, while he is only level 7. Despite being 7 levels behind, Kang prepares to fight. Red Butterfly launches a powerful punch at Kang, who barely blocks it and acknowledges her overwhelming strength. Not stopping there, Red Butterfly executes an aerial kick aimed at Kang's head. And again, what is hell is this angle? But Kang dodges each strike with the help of his battle helper. Kang knows he can't dodge forever. Activating his violent energy, he concentrates all his power into his hand. Kang resolves that this is his only chance to fight Red Butterfly on equal footing. Red Butterfly, sensing the challenge, activates her martial arts again. Like Sasuke and Naruto, they charge at each other, ready to collide in an epic clash. After that, Kang activates his Chidori while Red Butterfly uses her martial art, and they both charge at each other with devastating force. Kang believes his energy attack might damage Red Butterfly slightly, but to his surprise, as soon as Kang's Chidori hits, Red Butterfly's right arm begins to crack violently. She screams in agony and collapses to the ground, her entire arm's bone completely shattered. Kang, equally shocked and confused, notices the sheer strength of his violent energy. Red Butterfly, though barely managing her pain, sits upright. Kang, with a smirking demeanor, demands that Red Butterfly hand over her crystals. Begrudgingly, Red Butterfly complies, giving all her crystals to Kang. Before Kang can celebrate, a booming scream interrupts him from behind. Muscle Mommy bursts onto the scene, throwing Kang away effortlessly. Kang, still recovering from the impact, is stunned to see that Muscle Mommy has arrived alongside a spectacled man, who is revealed to be Red Snake. Muscle Mommy rushes to Red Butterfly, showing deep concern, while Red Butterfly angrily glares at Kang. Despite her injuries, Red Butterfly tries to defend her honor, but Muscle Mommy doesn't want to hear anything. Instead, she screams at Kang, calling him a bastard and demanding to know why he hurt Red Butterfly. Kang, already irritated, retorts by calling Muscle Mommy the real bastard in this situation. But before the argument escalates further, an important announcement is made. The test is over. Kang, visibly annoyed, listens to the rankings. Yu Tang takes third place, with Kang in second, holding 69 crystals. Red Butterfly secures first place with 88 crystals. Kang, disappointed, quickly realizes that Muscle Mommy gave all her crystals to Red Butterfly before the test ended, ensuring her victory. While Muscle Mommy beams with pride at her accomplishment, Red Butterfly looks defeated and frustrated. Kang, feeling betrayed, holds his face and confronts Red Butterfly. He scoffs, accusing her of cheating, and remarks that he thought she was an honorable warrior. However, she tries to defend her actions, claiming it's a misunderstanding. Kang turns away, telling her to forget it. But as he walks off, Muscle Mommy stops him, continuing to berate Kang. She accuses him of being evil and demonic for breaking Red Butterfly's arm and leaving without apologizing. Kang, struggling to control his temper, tries to ignore her. However, Muscle Mommy's insults escalate, pushing Kang's patience to its limit. He reflects on the unfairness of the situation. Red Butterfly attacked him first, trying to steal his crystals, and Muscle Mommy interfered and stole his victory. Finally, Kang snaps. With an irritated face, he activates his domain expansion. A dark, chilling aura envelops Kang, and demonic figures emerge behind him. Muscle Mommy freezes in fear, unable to move, as Kang's energy overwhelms her. Red Butterfly, noticing Muscle Mommy's condition, tries to understand what's happening, but Muscle Mommy, paralyzed by fear, starts shaking and screaming. She feels as though all her energy has been drained. Her terror escalates to the point where she pees her pants. Her heart rate skyrockets, and she clutches her chest, fearing a heart attack. The silver-haired woman rushes to heal her, while a medical team arrives to assist. The entire scene descends into chaos. Meanwhile, Kang, realizing the deadly impact of his domain expansion, even he didn't know his domain expansion who be this terrifying, so Kang quietly leaves to avoid further complications. Elsewhere, Lee and his manager watch the events unfold, both visibly shocked. Lee, deep in thought, acknowledges Kang's immense potential. He predicts that Kang will one day surpass him in strength. Rising from his seat, Lee tells his manager that he wants to meet Kang first, not Red Butterfly. The scene shifts to Kang, who is applying a cold can of Coca-Cola to his head to recover from the severe mana depletion caused by his domain expansion. Suddenly, the manager from the Tysoon clan appears and introduces himself. The manager, attempting to recruit Kang, promises him limitless resources to help him reach his full potential. He assures Kang that the Tysoon clan will support him to achieve greatness. Kang, though exhausted, can't help but laugh. He sarcastically asks the manager, "Will you help me reach the stars?" After that, the scene shifts, and Kang finally arrives at his home with Yumin. Kang happily announces to Yumin that he has acquired his hunter license and is now officially a hunter. Hearing this, Yumin is also delighted, but Kang suddenly feels an intense bloodlust. Kang turns around with a serious expression and confirms that there is a strong smell of blood coming from behind. In a stern voice, Kang tells Yumin to return home immediately and stay there until he says it's safe. Hearing this, Yumin becomes nervous and asks if something is wrong, but Kang reassures her that everything is fine and insists that she follows his instructions. Kang heads to the back alley near Yumin's house and is greeted by a gruesome scene. Several dead bodies in black suits brutally slaughtered by someone. Among the carnage, Kang notices Hisoka, who greets him confidently and says it's been a long time since they last met. Hisoka explains that the dead men are members of the Japanese Yakuza. These men had learned about Yumin being involved in the sale of purple moose and had come to her house to extract information. Hisoka reveals that he intervened and killed them all before they could harm Yumin. Hearing this, Kang thanks Hisoka but immediately questions him, asking what Hisoka wants in return. With a smirk, Hisoka casually mentions that he has a small request. He wants to form an alliance with the Taesung clan. Kang, now intrigued, tells Hisoka to check his bio data to decide if the alliance is feasible. However, Hisoka looks startled and reveals that he couldn't find any information about Kang's past. It seems someone has erased everything related to Kang. Hisoka explains that Kang's hunter status was 0. He had no ability, no connections, and no affiliation with any major organization. Yet, Hisoka is baffled at how Kang came into possession of an S-rank crystal. Hearing this, Kang is equally dumbfounded, unable to recall how he acquired such a rare item. Suddenly, the system notifies Kang that an outside entity wants to kill him. Before Kang can process this, Hisoka launches a swift attack with a knife. Kang barely dodges, but the force of the attack creates a massive shockwave in the background. Kang immediately realizes the gravity of the situation. Hisoka isn't joking. This is a serious fight. Kang throws a light punch at Hisoka, but the impact generates a shockwave. Hisoka notices that Kang is wearing equipment created from the android battle robots Kang had faced in Hell. Kang tenses up and warns Hisoka in a grave tone that if Hisoka gets injured, he has only himself to blame. Kang emphasizes that any harm caused will be purely self-defense. After seeing Kang's battle stance, Hisoka becomes serious. With a stern expression, Hisoka slowly takes off his jacket and then removes his black shirt, revealing himself like a Chad old man, standing with his stick in style. Hisoka tosses his shirt onto Kang's face, stating that he has no choice but to adopt a brutal approach since Kang refuses to give him a direct answer. Kang, unfazed, confidently removes Hisoka's coat from his face, but is startled when he sees Hisoka's stick reveal a sharp, legendary sword. White steam emanates from Hisoka's body, and Kang quickly realizes that this is no ordinary old man. Kang shouts in frustration, accusing Hisoka of cheating by using a sword. Hisoka stands calmly and unleashes a deadly slash so intense that Kang knows a single hit could kill him. Kang relies on his battle helper to dodge the attacks, leaping to the wall behind Hisoka in an attempt to launch a surprise attack. But Hisoka, as casual as ever, turns and counters with another slash, barely missing Kang's head. Hisoka moves closer, and Kang seizes the opportunity to activate his domain expansion. The attack envelops Hisoka, causing his body to experience fear and intense pain. Hisoka's eyeballs turn white as if he is paralyzed by the effect. Taking advantage, Kong grabs Hisoka's collar and slams him to the ground. Hisoka regains his senses and taunts Kong, acknowledging that Kang's illusion weapon is impressive but won't work on someone like him who has faced countless similar attacks. With a single slash, Hisoka inflicts a deep cut on Kang's hand, causing blood to pour out. Confidently, Hisoka declares that he could have killed Kang if he wanted, but insists he has no intention of doing so. Hisoka demands to know where Kang obtained the purple moose crystal and who is giving Kang orders. Kong begins to laugh, prompting Hisoka to question what's so funny. Kong responds by reminding Hisoka of another one of his abilities. At that moment, Hisoka's sword starts emitting smoke. Realizing it's due to Kong's poison blood, Hisoka is visibly startled. Kong uses his violent energy to grab Hisoka's face and slams him into the wall, creating a huge blast. Hisoka's sword falls to the ground, and Kong fires an energy blast directly at Hisoka's face. Standing confidently, Kang taunts Hisoka, stating that his lack of poison resistance means Kang has already won. But Hisoka isn't one to give up easily. He raises his right hand and breaks Kang's arm and ribcage, causing Kang to collapse in intense pain, unable to move. Hisoka retrieves a healing potion and applies it to himself, neutralizing the poison. However, Kong also uses a healing ability, recovering fully and confidently standing up once again. Kong declares it's time for round 2. Hisoka, slightly taken aback, asks if Kang has any healing abilities. Kong smirks and cryptically replies that God knows, refusing to elaborate. In reality, Kang's last standing title restores his health to full whenever it drops below 10%. Kang silently marvels that this ability, which he wasn't sure would work in the real world, has now been proven effective. Hisoka glances at his sword and tells Kong they should stop fighting. He explains that he didn't come to battle but to talk. Kong, now irritated, reminds Hisoka that it was Hisoka who attacked first. Hisoka calmly sheathes his sword and reiterates his offer. If Kong joins the Tysoon clan, they will provide everything necessary for Kang's growth and protect him. But Hisoka presses again, asking how Kang obtained the purple crystal. Kang, with a psychopathic smile, steps closer and declares that he has a better offer than Hisoka's. Kong proposes that Hisoka works for him instead. Hearing this, Hisoka directly tells Kang that if Kang is going to continue indulging in his childish dream, Hisoka will head back now. Kong starts laughing again with a psychopathic smile and declares that he likes this old man too much to let him go just like that. Laughing, Kong questions Hisoka about what's so great about the Tysoon clan. Kong claims the Tysoon clan is merely a small rank 3 guild in Korea and isn't strong globally. Kong mocks, saying Ki is the daddy's loved child, and someone like Hisoka would benefit more by working with Kong, a person brimming with potential. Hearing this, Hisoka gives a deadly stare and tells Kang he might not realize what kind of person Hisoka truly is. Hisoka declares that Kang is nothing compared to Lee's potential. Kang, unfazed, starts laughing and taunts Hisoka, saying that an old man who was nearly defeated by Kang has no right to talk about potential. This visibly pisses off Hisoka. He turns with his rusted blade, which appears fragile enough to break at any moment, and unleashes a deadly slash. The slash is so powerful that Kang is pushed back into a wall with such force that it splits the wall in half with Kang in the middle. However, Kang emerges nearly unscathed, with only a slight scratch on his cheek. Kang realizes the precision of Hisoka's attack. He intentionally caused no damage to Kang while destroying the wall. Kong is speechless. He now understands that Hisoka had merely been playing with him and wasn't taking the fight seriously. Hisoka tells Kong that there are people in the Tysoon clan far stronger than Kong. He mentions that Lee achieved level 10 to level 20 in just 2 months. Hearing this, Kong's ego takes a hit. Kang, in a serious tone, pulls something from his pocket and tells Hisoka that he will prove his potential by reaching level 20 in 2 weeks. Kang proposes a deal. If he succeeds, Hisoka must work for him. Hisoka, placing his cap back on, declares that such a feat is impossible. He reminds Kang that Lee had access to abundant resources and a personal training ground provided by his father. Hisoka chuckles, calls Kang a good joker, and walks away. Kang, with a psychopathic smile, says he knows the perfect place to train. The scene shifts to Kang returning to Hell. Kong vents his anger on a poor goblin, brutally killing it and destroying its body. Another goblin bites Kong's hand, but Kang slams it to the ground and uses his violent energy to obliterate its internal organs. The system notifies Kang that he has reached level 15. The celestial star Ardane is watching over him. Kang, pissed off, flips his middle finger at Ardane. He notices his bleeding hand and retreats to a room to bandage it, warning himself not to overexert his body. Suddenly, Rainer appears from behind and lovingly places a straw on Kang's injured hand, drinking his blood. Rainer mockingly tells Kang that he should injure himself more often since fresh blood tastes better. Kang is frustrated but also satisfied when he looks around and sees he has slaughtered hundreds of goblins, creating a mountain of bodies. Kang thinks about how easily he is defeating goblins, but acknowledges that the red-capped goblin is different. At that moment, Kang feels a strange, eerie presence behind him. He turns to see the red-capped goblin approaching. The goblin's hand, destroyed by Kang's poison blood, now has a replacement metal hook. The goblin looks at the pile of dead goblins and begins to cry in pain. Kang, surprised, wonders if the goblin actually has emotions. The red-capped goblin's grief quickly turns into rage and it starts screaming at the sky. Kang realizes he has truly pissed off the red-capped goblin and prepares for battle. He ties 3 poison darts in his hands, thinking how he never imagined a monster could grieve. The goblin, now enraged, charges toward Kang, clearly intent on devouring him. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Kang dead. Kang has managed to survive for 12 days and 6 hours. After being revived, he collapses to the ground, panting heavily. Kang wonders if he pissed off the red-haired goblin too much. That goblin didn't give Kang a second chance, it killed him instantly. Kang finally gets up, determined to trap the red-haired goblin and kill it, but each attempt fails. The goblin sneaks from behind and slices Kang's neck with a psychopathic smile. Kang dies yet again. The sequence of death doesn't end there. The scene shifts, showing Kang revived once more, running like a madman. This was the 6th time the goblin had killed Kang within a minute of his revival. Kang is desperate, unsure of what to do as the deaths keep repeating. We watch Kang revive again and again, only to be brutally killed by the goblin, who behaves like a bloodthirsty demon. Sometimes the goblin cuts off Kang's leg, sometimes it slices him in half, and other times it stabs Kang repeatedly until he bleeds out. Eventually, we see that Kang has been killed so many times that the goblin levels up to level 20. The goblin's name is revealed to be Curson, so we now refer to him as the Goblin Chief. Curson feels satisfied yet perplexed. He finds it weird that no matter how many times he kills Kang, the human keeps reviving. Because of this, Curson can't relax. He searches for Kang relentlessly. At the same time, an old goblin approaches Curson, crying and calling him by name. Curson shouts at the old goblin, saying he doesn't want to come out because it's too dangerous. But the old goblin insists that there is a big problem. Someone has poisoned the village water supply, leaving the entire goblin village sick. The scene shifts, showing an underground tunnel filled with goblins. Many are old, young, and female, and almost 70% of them are sick and lying on the ground. The old goblin explains that the poisoned water has killed their farmed animals and made their fish inedible. They can neither eat nor drink, and their village is dying. The old goblin asks Curson who could have done such a cruel thing. The village had no conflict or enemies with any other races. Hearing this, Curson's blood boils. Curson is convinced that only a human could be responsible. He wonders how the human found their hidden village. Curson swears that the next time he encounters Kang, he won't kill him, but will cage him and bury him alive so he can't revive anymore. While Curson is deep in thought, a fat goblin approaches him holding a crying baby goblin. The goblin explains that the newborn is starving because its mother is too sick from the poison. They can't feed or hydrate the baby. Seeing the hungry, crying infant, Curson is overcome with rage and grief. Curson, consumed by anger, decides to hunt the human responsible. The other goblin warriors try to stop him, warning that the human is dangerous and can revive while Curson cannot. If Curson dies, the villagers will be left defenseless, but Curson insists that the human is too weak to kill him. Only the human's revival ability gives him any edge. Curson, fueled by rage, finds the body of a dead goblin bleeding purple blood. Realizing the human used poison, Curson tracks the scent. The scene shifts, showing Curson arriving at a location where Kang attempts to kill him with a poison dart. Curson easily dodges the attack and smirks with a psychopathic grin. Looking at Kang, he declares that he has finally found him. On the other hand, Kang, brimming with excitement, says that he has a very good offer for the goblin, one that the goblin will like very much. After that, Kang tells Kurson that Kang will give Kurson a chance to die at Kang's hand. Kurson becomes confused and asks Kang if Kang is only talking to waste time so that everyone in the goblin village dies from the poison. But Kang responds coldly, stating that if Kang truly wanted to kill the entire village, he could have done so effortlessly. Kang explains that by mixing just a few drops of his blood into the water, only few goblins died, leaving others sick. If Kang had added more, half the village would have been wiped out. Hearing this, Kurson's mind starts to unravel, and he becomes furious. Kurson, blinded by rage, lunges at Kang with his sword, but Kang grabs the sword barehanded and, with a psychopathic smile, threatens Kurson. Kang doesn't care about Kurson's family. Kang just wants revenge. However, Kang warns Kurson that if Kurson continues chasing Kang like a madman, even Kang doesn't know what horrors he might unleash on the goblin village next time. Hearing this, Kurson's body loses all strength. His world turns upside down. Kurson finally collapses to the ground, overwhelmed by despair. He begs Kang to leave his family alone, throwing his sword at Kang's feet and bowing his head. Kurson pleads, saying Kang can kill him if he wishes, but he must spare the village. Kang appears to agree. He bends down to pick up Kurson's sword, but it was all a trap. Kurson kicks Kang hard, sending him flying. Kurson grabs the sword and stabs Kang in the stomach. However, this time Kurson doesn't kill Kang outright. Instead, he tortures Kang, slowly puncturing his body. Kurson slashes Kang's leg, fingers, and eye, leaving him in excruciating pain. He stabs Kang's intestines, mocking him, saying he will make Kang suffer just as much as Kang made his family suffer. But suddenly Kang begins laughing maniacally and calls Kurson a fool. Kang taunts Kurson, saying he should have killed him instantly. At that moment, Kurson realizes that Kang's health is restored due to the last man standing title. Seizing the opportunity, Kang grabs a poison dart and punches Kurson in the stomach. The poison weakens Kurson significantly. Taking advantage, Kang grabs Kurson by the neck and smashes him into a wall. Kang, now resembling a mad demon, begins to relentlessly beat Kurson. Kurson's entire body is broken and battered. Kang steps back and smirks, mocking Kurson for his overconfidence. Kang declares that Kurson underestimated Kang's strength. He then delivers a devastating kick to Kurson's face, breaking his vocal cord. Kurson, now utterly weakened by the poison and the beatings, collapses. Kang picks up another poison dart and, with a creepy tone, tells Kurson that unlike Kurson, Kang will not be careless. Kang plans to kill Kurson in one move. Hearing this, Kurson starts crying. This time, Kurson genuinely begs for his life, repeatedly pleading with Kang not to kill him. Kurson reveals that his body is blessed, and if he dies, the entire village will also perish. Kang, however, shows no remorse. Instead, his demonic smile widens. He sarcastically asks Kurson if killing him would mean gaining experience points from the death of the entire village. Hearing this, Kurson's condition worsens. He realizes that he has underestimated Kang's savagery. Kang's psychopathic smile becomes even more unnerving. Finally, Kang kicks Kurson's neck, severing it, and kills him instantly. Kurson's headless body collapses, marking the end of the Goblin Chief. And damn, I must say even now it's hard to tell who the real villain and real hero of this story are. Kang's brutality knows no bounds. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Kang standing on a mountain, spreading his arms wide, enjoying the view of the destroyed city with a satisfied smirk. The system notifies Kang that he has completed the quest, and his level has increased by 4 to 5 at once. This indicates that Kang has either gained a huge amount of experience points by killing the Goblin Chief, or by the Goblin Chief's death triggering the demise of his entire village. In reality, the entire Goblin village has perished, and Kang has gained experience points for all of them simultaneously. But Kang doesn't give a shit. He remains unbothered by the tragedy of the Goblin village. Kang casually sits on the lifeless body of the Goblin Chief when Rainer appears from behind. Rainer, beaming with joy, says she had a great sleep and is now starving. She cheerfully tells Kang that she wants to drink his blood. Meanwhile, Kang, brushing her off, says he's in the middle of doing important work. Kang begins pondering why this goblin was so much stronger than normal goblins. Although the Goblin Chief was level 20, his power far exceeded that of a typical goblin of the same rank. As Kang examines the goblin's body, he notices a strange, ancient language inscribed on the goblin's hands. When Kang touches the ancient markings, the letters start to float in the air. Kang, now intrigued, watches as a large black ball forms from the ink-like substance. Suddenly, the ball begins to spin, creating a powerful tornado. Kang's surprise intensifies, but things take a terrifying turn when a sharp black nail emerges from the dark sphere and pierces Kang's hand. The nail enters Kang's body, and he feels excruciating pain as though every nerve in his body is being torn apart. For 5 agonizing minutes, Kang writhes in pain, clutching his hands. Finally, when the pain subsides, Kang looks at his palms and notices the mark has changed. The system notifies Kang that he has absorbed a piece of the shattering star power Gaul. Kang racks his memory and recalls that Gaul is the same purple celestial figure that resembled a demon. The system also notifies Kang that he has unlocked a new, legendary skill called Familiar. Kang is intrigued but confused. He sits there, pondering the meaning of this new skill and its potential. The scene shifts back to Earth, and we see Yumin sleeping peacefully on her bed like a princess. However, her face reflects sadness and frustration. Suddenly, Kang's voice echoes, calling out to Yumin. Startled, Yumin sits up in surprise, looking shocked and disoriented. She isn't wearing her glasses, and when Kang stands before her, she stares at him as though she's seen a ghost. Yumin hurriedly puts on her glasses and, still visibly shaken, asks Kang in a sad tone if he has eaten. Kang, with a nonchalant demeanor, replies that he has not eaten yet. Yumin gets up from her bed in a sad tone and tells Kang that she will go and cook food. But seeing Yumin so disheartened, Kang gently holds her hand and asks why she seems so sad. Kang quickly realizes that Yumin is upset because Kang has been missing for the past 3 days. Kang understands that he hasn't told Yumin where he has been during this time. Yumin, still visibly upset, tells Kang in a frustrated voice that the last time she saw him, he had left her outside her house. She explains that she was worried sick about him, especially since she didn't want to leave her home that day. For 3 days, Yumin tried to contact Kang but couldn't reach him. She searched everywhere but found no trace of him. Yumin admits that she's been noticing weird things related to Kang lately. Whenever Kang disappears, Yumin feels scared that he may never return. As she says this, Yumin begins to cry uncontrollably. She throws Kang's hand away and starts screaming at him in frustration. Yumin demands that Kang tell her everything, where he disappears to and all the secrets he's been hiding from her. Kang forcefully holds her shoulders and asks Yumin to calm down. He promises her that he will explain everything. Pulling her close to his chest, Kang tries to comfort her, but this action makes Yumin shy. Kang, realizing how awkward the situation is, becomes flustered and quickly lets go of her. After this, Kang tells Yumin his entire story. He explains how his ancestral pendant transported him to another world, a place that was akin to hell. He shares all the horrors he faced and the struggles he endured. Hearing this, Yumin's sadness intensifies. She asks Kang if the next time he disappears, there's a possibility he won't return to Earth. Kang, with a serious look, admits that there is indeed a chance he might not come back. He confidently adds that death is also a real possibility. But with steadfast determination, Kang tells Yumin that no matter how long it takes, he will always return to Earth, just for her. Kang holds Yumin's hand firmly and tells her that he wants her to be his lighthouse when he comes back. He then proposes to Yumin, expressing his deep feelings. Hearing this, Yumin's face lights up with happiness. She leans into Kang's shoulder with her entire body, overwhelmed with emotion. Suddenly, Yumin takes off her glasses and looks at Kang with a cute, seductive smile. In a playful voice, she tells Kang that she is ready to become his lighthouse. In fact, Yumin cheekily says she wants to become Kang's charger. She promises that whenever Kang returns from hell, she will recharge his body. Kang becomes nervous and backs away, awkwardly telling Yumin that she shouldn't be so close because she hasn't showered yet. Kang adds that his body might smell bad too. Yumin, playfully ignoring him, suddenly falls asleep on Kang's lap with a cute smile. With her eyes half closed, in a sedative tone, she tells Kang that in face she herself haven't showered yet. Yumin teasingly asks if he wants to shower with her. Hearing this, Kang becomes extremely nervous and shy. Well, we all know what happened after that in the shower. The next day, Kang wakes up after what he calls a good night's exercise. As soon as Kang comes downstairs, he notices that Hisoka is waiting for him outside. Kang, with a confident smile, gets into Hisoka's car and boasts that he has reached level 20 in just 2 weeks. Hearing this, Hisoka doubtfully replies that it's hard to believe Kang achieved such a feat because there's no way to verify it right now. Kang understands that Hisoka is making excuses to avoid admitting Kang's progress. Suddenly, Kang taunts Hisoka, telling him that from now on, Kang will increase the price of crystal mousse by 15%. Hearing this, Hisoka gets furious and glares at Kang with deadly eyes, saying that Kang cannot do this. But Kang, with a taunting smirk, summons a crystal mousse in his hand and asks Hisoka if he knows what a monopoly is. Kang explains that he owns the entire supply of crystal mousse. If Kang wishes, he can stop selling to Hisoka and instead sell to someone else. But Kang says he likes the old man, so he's offering to sell it to Hisoka, leaving Hisoka with no other option but to buy it from Kang. Hisoka tells Kang that he is already selling crystal mousse to Kang at 15% above the market price, and now Kang is demanding an even higher price. Hearing this, Kang responds with a smug smile that if Hisoka isn't willing to agree, there's no other choice. They won't do business anymore. Saying this, Kang snaps his fingers and retrieves the crystal mousse back into his inventory. Hisoka, however, is clearly unhappy. Suddenly, Kang throws something at Hisoka's hand. Hisoka looks down, and his eyes widen in shock. A legendary ring is now on his finger. It's no ordinary ring. This artifact will double Hisoka's senses. For someone like Hisoka, who heavily relies on his senses, this is a game changer. Kang slyly asks Hisoka if Lee has ever given him a gift like this. Hisoka hesitates and then replies, "No." Kang smiles even wider and says that perhaps the more time Hisoka spends with Kang, the more he will realize that Kang is far more valuable than Lee. Hisoka, still processing, starts to think. He acknowledges that while working for Lee, he hasn't experienced any personal growth. Yet, Kang is casually handing him legendary items. It's hard for Hisoka to ignore the potential benefits. Meanwhile, Kang grins to himself, and the scene reveals the true purpose of the ring. It's not a mere gift. The ring has a pair, and Kang possesses the other one. Through this pair, Kang can track Hisoka's location and even reduce Hisoka's power by 50%. This isn't generosity, this is strategic manipulation. Well, damn, I must say Kang really knows how to play the game. The scene shifts, and we see Kang and Hisoka facing each other in a ring. Hisoka declares that because Kang claims to have reached level 20, Hisoka will test this claim himself. But as the fight begins, it becomes clearly one-sided. Kang throws several punches and kicks, trying his best to land a hit, but Hisoka dodges everything with ease. Finally, Hisoka becomes serious and delivers a devastating punch that creates an explosive blast, sending Kang flying backwards. Despite the power of the punch, Kang barely takes damage. His wounds begin to heal instantly. Seeing this, Hisoka's curiosity deepens. He asks Kang about the secret of his regenerative ability, but Kang remains silent. Kang slowly rises and with a confident smirk says, "I only fractured my rib cage a little. It'll heal soon enough." Kang boasts that he has now survived Hisoka's attacks twice as long as during their last fight, proving that he's indeed level 20. Hearing this, Hisoka's eyes begin to sparkle and he removes his t-shirt, revealing chiseled six-pack abs. Kang can't help but notice how intimidating Hisoka looks. Hisoka tells Kang that unless Kang reveals the truth behind his ability, Hisoka will force the answers out of him. Hisoka unleashes a barrage of attacks. Kang struggles to dodge, barely avoiding a direct hit. Desperate, Kang throws a punch at Hisoka's face, but Hisoka easily catches his fist and counters with a brutal strike that breaks Kang's arm. Kang's arm dangles like a broken pendulum. The pain is excruciating, and Kang starts crying out in agony. Despite his condition, Hisoka becomes even more intrigued. He notices that even with a broken arm, Kang's limb continues to move. Kang, through gritted teeth, asks if Hisoka is satisfied after torturing him. Hisoka, now serious, replies that Kang must build a reputation if he ever hopes to be compared to Lee. Hisoka reveals that he has already made arrangements for Kang to clear an official dungeon, pushing Kang closer to the spotlight of Hunter Society. After that, the scene shifts, and Kang arrives at a hill station, still frustrated because he has no desire to raid a newbie E-rank dungeon. But if Kang wants to build his reputation, he knows he must start somewhere. As Kang stands there, a woman in a yellow dress approaches, ringing a loud bell. She announces to everyone that the person raiding today's dungeon has arrived. The woman, clearly drunk, introduces herself as Noel, the supervisor for the dungeon raid. The smell of alcohol from Noel's breath makes it difficult to breathe for the newbie hunters. Noel starts explaining the basics, but her slurred words make the instructions unclear. Then Noel stretches her arms, and goddamn, why the hell all the women in this story is so hot? Back to story. The we see Noel is a little drunk, informs the group that she is a B-rank hunter. She warns everyone that if they don't follow her commands, things will get ugly. Noel explains that this is an E-rank dungeon with a jungle theme. Dungeons are unpredictable and their terrain can vary: lava, water, Oregon, even deadly void lands. However, today's dungeon is supposed to be simple, but suddenly Noel vomits violently in the middle of her explanation, leaving Kang baffled. After Noel regains her composure, she instructs the newbie hunters to introduce themselves. The first is Park Seo-moon, a 2-star hunter. 2 girls follow, identifying themselves as 1-star hunters. Lastly, a small boy in glasses introduces himself as another 1-star hunter. Kang, observing the group, thinks they seem underwhelming. When it's Kang's turn, he introduces himself as a 1-star hunter. As soon as Kang introduces himself, Noel's expression changes. In a flash, she appears directly in front of Kang, scrutinizing him. She examines his face and body with intense focus. Noel mutters that Kang looks familiar, but her hangover clouds her memory. Noel asks if Kang has brought any equipment. Kang pulls a normal-looking stick out of his inventory. This infuriates Park Seo-moon. He throws his bag down, revealing an arsenal of weapons, and shouts at Kang, demanding how Kang plans to fight monsters with a stick. Park Seo-moon pulls out a huge sword and places it near Kang's neck, threatening him. But before the situation escalates further, Noel dashes in, grabs Park Seo-moon by the leg, and flings him into the air. He crashes to the ground with a thunderous impact. Noel catches Park's sword mid-air and slams it into the ground next to his face, leaving him so terrified that he nearly wets his pants. In a serious tone, Noel warns Park that it's illegal to draw weapons outside a dungeon and that his aggressive attitude could cause anxiety for others. Park Seo-moon, terrified, apologizes profusely and begins repacking his weapons. Meanwhile, Kang observes the scene with amusement. Kang silently acknowledges that while Noel is not as strong as Hisoka, she is still skilled and formidable. Kang smirks evilly, thinking about how fun it would be to test Noel's limits. At the same time, a dark shadow looms behind Kang. From the shadowy mass, a black liquid begins to seep, slowly taking shape. From within this dark ooze, Curson slowly emerges, ready for something sinister. The scene shifts, revealing a massive door. Noel and the group step forward and enter the dungeon. As they proceed, Noel warns everyone with a serious tone that while the area doesn't look much like a jungle now, the deeper they go, the more goblins they will encounter. Noel pauses to address the newbies, asking if anyone has any idea how to clear the dungeon. Immediately, like an excited child, Meathead raises his hand and confidently states that to escape, they'll need a return crystal. He explains that the return crystal will only appear after killing the dungeon boss. Without it, there is no way out. Hearing this, Noel nods approvingly and commends Meathead. She tells the group that this is a simple dungeon, and goblins are weak monsters. Their task is straightforward: kill the goblins, defeat the boss, and retrieve the return crystal. Noel adds that unless the situation becomes extremely dangerous, she will not intervene. The scene shifts, showing Meathead calling the newbies together. He confidently announces that he has a plan based on his deep knowledge of goblins. While Meathead enthusiastically explains his strategy, Kang silently observes, listening from the sidelines. Meathead elaborates, suggesting that to avoid sneak attacks from goblins, everyone should watch their heads. Moreover, since goblins possess a highly sensitive sense of smell, the group should cover themselves in mud and grass. According to Meathead, this will mask their human scent and make them indistinguishable from the environment. Kang can no longer hold back his laughter and mockingly declares that Meathead's plan is ridiculous and won't work. Already irritated by Kong, Meathead's anger explodes. Like a wild animal, he begins shouting at Kong, accusing him of dismissing his strategy. Meathead, still fuming, justifies his plan by declaring that he got the information from a famous A-rank hunter on YouTube, someone who has killed numerous goblins in dungeons. Meathead insists that the hunter is highly professional and that his advice is unquestionable. Before the situation escalates further, Noel steps in to separate Kang and Meathead. Trying to calm things down, she turns to Kang and asks why he thinks Meathead's plan is flawed. Kang's expression turns serious. He asks Meathead why he believes covering themselves with grass is a good idea. Kang explains that the plan is flawed because goblins, with their sharp sense of smell, will easily detect the mixed scent of humans and grass. Kang points out that old grass on their bodies will not match the fresh grass on the ground, making it obvious to the goblins that something is amiss. He continues, noting that Meathead himself said they need to watch out for their heads. However, in a jungle environment where goblins are small and agile, such a plan is impractical. The goblins will first attack their ankles, not their heads. Hearing this, Meathead gets even more angry and shouts at Kang, accusing him of being oversmart. Meathead steps forward to grab Kang's collar, but Noel intervenes. With a swift punch to Meathead's stomach, she stops him in his tracks and tells him, "Whatever Kang is saying is right." Noel continues, explaining with a serious tone that Meathead's information is outdated. She says that if this were 10 years ago, it might have been correct. But after a decade, many new dungeons have appeared, and this jungle-type dungeon is unique. Goblins here are smaller in size, and Kang's observations are spot on. Noel emphasizes that information must evolve with time. Hearing this, Meathead and the rest of the newbies are shocked, but Noel's expression turns suspicious. She steps closer to Kang and, with a serious glare, asks him how his information is so precise. Noel adds that Kang speaks as if he has personally killed hundreds of goblins. Kang simply smiles and replies that he just learned this information. He casually adds that if Noel doubts him, she can check his record outside the dungeon. He reminds her that this is his first dungeon. As Noel contemplates, Meathead, still resentful, is about to taunt Kang again. Suddenly, at an insane speed, a goblin comes flying towards the group. The goblin's bloodthirsty snarl sends a chill through everyone. Even Noel looks surprised. But Kang, remaining calm and unfazed, casually kicks the goblin with such force that it flies away, its neck snapping instantly. The goblin dies on the spot. Meathead and the newbies are stunned. Their jaws drop as Kang, exuding pure swag, turns to them and smugly asks, "Meathead said my stick was normal, so what do you think now? Is it still normal?" But everyone is left thinking that Kang didn't even use his stick. He kicked the goblin. The scene shifts, showing the newbie group fighting the goblins. However, something feels off. The goblins seem afraid and aren't fighting back. This unusual behavior allows the newbies to kill them easily. Even Meathead is swinging his big sword, cutting down goblins without much resistance. From the back, Noel watches with a keen eye, her suspicion growing. She notes that while goblins in an E-rank dungeon are usually easy to kill, these goblins seem unnaturally scared. Their fighting spirit appears completely gone. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierces the air. Noel, her instincts kicking in, sprints toward the sound, her mind racing with concern. She reaches the newbies and her mouth falls open in shock. The dungeon boss is dead, its body impaling a giant pillar. But that's not all. The entire dungeon is a grisly scene. All the goblins have been brutally killed and strung upon the pillar. Their bodies bear the marks of extreme torture. Teeth broken, limbs cut, and some with hundreds of knife wounds. Seeing this, Noel's face turns grim. She announces with urgency that everyone must prepare to leave immediately and stick together. She believes this dungeon has undergone a mutation, causing something abnormal to happen. She warns that staying longer will put their lives at risk. The scene shifts again, revealing Crescent watching from the shadows. His glowing eyes lock onto the newbie group, and his killer instinct begins to take over. Ready to attack, Crescent's presence looms ominously as the group scrambles to regroup. The scene shifts, showing a flashback from an hour ago. While all the newbies were busy killing the goblins, Kang, unnoticed by anyone, sneaks away to another location. Reaching his destination, Kang activates his family skill, summoning Curson from his shadow. As Curson emerges, Kang beams with satisfaction and gives him his first mission. Kang explains that this is Curson's debut task under his command. We also learn about the origins of the family skill. Kang reveals that by absorbing all the tattoos from Curson's hand, he unlocked this unique ability. This skill allows Kang to revive monsters, bring them from hell to the real world, and command them. With a psychopathic smile, Kang tells Curson to kill all the goblins in the dungeon. Hearing this, Curson is appalled and questions Kang, asking if he's genuinely a demon for commanding him to murder his own kind. Kang, with an even crueler grin, gives Curson an ultimatum. Kill the goblins, or Kang will slaughter Curson's entire family. Faced with no choice, Curson's resignation is clear. He reluctantly agrees, knowing that his life is tied to Kang's. If Kang dies, Curson will also perish. Moreover, if Curson disobeys, his family will be executed. This unbreakable connection forces Kurson to comply. As Kurson reluctantly begins his gruesome task, the sound of rustling bushes alerts him. He turns and spots his first prey, an ugly, fat goblin. Staring at the creature, Kurson's face twists in disgust. Slowly approaching, Kurson mutters to himself, "How can this monstrosity be of my kind?" The sight of the goblin fills Kurson with rage and disbelief. Kurson viciously slashes the goblin's stomach and grips its neck, declaring that this hideous creature cannot possibly belong to the same species. With a demonic smile, he tears the goblin in half, spilling its insides on the ground. Kurson's bloodlust intensifies as two more goblins appear. He leaps into the air, brutally mutilating them. Their limbs are severed, bodies destroyed, and the ground is painted with their blood. From afar, Kang observes the carnage with immense satisfaction. He commands Kurson to eliminate every goblin in the dungeon and promises to return shortly. The flashback ends, bringing us back to the present. Noel, along with the newbie hunters, is searching for Kang. She is visibly worried and wonders if Kang has been killed. Suddenly, Kang emerges from a bush, casually explaining that he had to relieve himself. Noel shouts at Kang, demanding to know why he left without permission. At the same time, Meathead runs in panic toward a strange stone monument that suddenly appears. Out of nowhere, Kurson attacks, knocking Meathead to the ground and aiming to deliver a fatal blow. However, Noel intervenes at insane speed, stopping Kurson just in time. A dangerous battle ensues between Noel and Kurson. The clash is intense, each strike sending shockwaves across the dungeon. Meanwhile, Kang stands in the shadows, enjoying the chaos. With a smirk, he watches as Noel and Kurson engage in a brutal fight, entertained by the spectacle. The scene shifts, and the fight between Noel and Kurson finally begins, while Kang watches with a mischievous grin, completely thrilled by the chaos. Kang reveals to himself that this fight isn't just entertainment, it's a strategic move to uncover Noel's combat skills. After all, Kang orchestrated this entire setup by using Kurson as a pawn to gauge Noel's power. Kang explains more about his family skill. He notes that this ability allows him to give commands to those bound by the skill. However, there's a catch. If the target bound by the skill is of a higher level than the user, like Kurson, Kang's control over them becomes limited. Yet Kang has cleverly bypassed this limitation. Since Kang's life is tethered to Kurson's, if Kang dies, Kurson dies too. And with Kurson's family also at risk, Kurson is forced to obey Kang's every command. Kang adds that Kurson's frustration isn't just from his situation. It's fueled by seeing himself, a goblin, reduced to battling what he perceives as ugly, disgusting goblins. Kang, meanwhile, is unbothered and excitedly awaits the outcome of this fight. However, as Kurson unexpectedly shifts his focus toward attacking the newbies, Noel quickly intervenes. Seizing the opportunity, Kurson fakes retreating and suddenly ambushes Noel with a surprise attack, slashing her head. Blood drips from Noel's wound, leaving her momentarily stunned. Noel, filled with rage and disbelief, wonders how something as powerful as Kurson exists in a one-star dungeon. Not only does Kurson possess better gear than most hunters, but his intelligence also surpasses anything she's encountered in monsters before. The injury snaps her out of her hangover, and with her anger boiling over, Noel enters a new level of fury. Her speed and aura intensify, and even Kang realizes the tide is turning. He immediately commands Kurson to retreat. But before Kurson can act, Noel vanishes and reappears with insane speed, delivering a devastating slash to Kurson's stomach. Kurson struggles to keep up with her movements. Desperately, Kurson uses a smoke bomb and grabs Meathead, holding a blade to his neck. Kurson growls, threatening Noel, telling her to drop her weapon or he'll kill Meathead. Noel, frozen momentarily, processes the scene. For the first time in her life, she hears a monster speaking fluently. It isn't just shocking, it's world-altering. This intelligent and articulate goblin is breaking every rule she's known. Noel wrestles with her options. Should she sacrifice Meathead to capture Kurson, the anomaly, or does she let him go? With a serious and somber tone, Noel apologizes to Meathead, confusing him entirely. Kang, however, immediately senses what's about to happen. Noel is ready to go all out. At that moment, Kang steps in. With a shockingly powerful throw, he launches a stone using his stick like a baseball bat. The stone hits the tree with enough force to create a hole, knocking Meathead out of Kurson's grip. Everyone is left dumbfounded. Even Kang looks at the result in disbelief, pretending to downplay his strength by blaming the stick, saying, "Maybe this stick is too dangerous." Noel, however, is not convinced. She yells at Kang, ordering him to stay back. "This is no place for a newbie!" she shouts, her tone sharp and commanding. But Kang, with his trademark psychopathic smile, steps forward. Turning to Noel, he asks casually, "Why should I step back?" Noel freezes, confused and frustrated. She begins to wonder, who is this guy? For the first time, Noel sees Kang not as a mere newbie, but as someone cloaked in layers of mystery and danger. After that, we come to understand why Kang is behaving this way. Kang feels disappointed after watching Noel struggle against a level 21 zombie from hell. He had believed that Noel, being a B-rank hunter, would exhibit far greater strength. Instead, Kang wonders, are all B-rank hunters this weak in the real world? Kang thinks to himself that if Kurson had fought Noel at full power, she would have been instantly killed. Another concern arises when Kang realizes that Kurson's bloodthirst has awakened. Kang had initially thought Kurson wouldn't harm humans, but seeing him press his sword against Meathead's neck made it clear. Kurson was fully prepared to kill him. This forces Kang to make a decision to end the situation quickly. Kang then clarifies to Noel in a serious tone that risking Meathead's life just to satisfy her curiosity was irresponsible. He points out that even if she captured the goblin, what would she report to the authorities after leaving the dungeon? If Meathead had died, Noel would have faced trouble beyond her imagination. Hearing this, Noel realizes that her curiosity got the better of her. She lowers her gaze, understanding Kang's words. Meanwhile, Kang commands Kurson to tone down his strength in the fight. He picks up a stone, launches it into the air, and swings at it with his stick like a baseball bat, sending the stone flying toward Kurson. Kurson, shocked, wonders if Kang seriously wants to kill him. The stone narrowly misses, grazing Kurson's head. If it had hit, his head would have been blasted apart. Noel seizes this moment to leap forward and attack Kurson again. Kang joins in, wielding his stick with precision. He swings at Kurson, delivering a blow so powerful that Kurson is sent flying back. Noel takes advantage of the opening and jumps to deliver a finishing blow, while Kang warns Kurson that Noel is attacking from behind. However, Kang deliberately fights Kurson in a way that deflects suspicion away from himself. Despite this, the battle between Noel and Kurson escalates into a deadly exchange. Both combatants attack ferociously, though Kurson manages to dodge every strike. At one point, Kurson notices Meathead stumbling into his path. With a bloodthirsty growl, Kurson kicks Meathead hard, sending him hurtling into Noel, knocking her to the ground. This leaves Noel vulnerable, and Kurson, like a rabid demon, charges at her, ready to kill her on the spot. Kang, observing the situation, feels Kurson's raging bloodthirst. He realizes that Kurson has lost all control, and if left unchecked, will massacre everyone. With a commanding voice, Kang threatens Kurson once again, reminding him that if he doesn't retreat, Kang will kill Kurson's entire family. Left with no choice, Kurson activates a smoke bomb and flees. Watching Kurson escape, Noel screams in anger and frustration. Her screams echo through the dungeon as she vents her fury. Meanwhile, Kang stands in the shadows, observing the chaos with a serious expression. Suddenly, he bursts into maniacal laughter, his voice echoing eerily in the dim light. Like a true psychopath, Kang grins and says, "I'm having so much fun." At this moment, it becomes clear. Kang's experiences in the Hell Dungeon have awakened a part of him he didn't know existed. His psyche has shifted, revealing a darker, more unhinged side of himself. This content may violate our usage policies. Did we get it wrong? Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down. After that, the scene shifts, and we see that everyone has safely exited the dungeon. Noel is visibly frustrated and angry. She storms into the authorities' office and shouts about how she encountered an intelligent talking goblin inside the dungeon, claiming that this couldn't possibly be a normal one-star E-rank dungeon. However, the authority tries to reassure Noel repeatedly, insisting that no such goblin has ever been recorded before. Despite thorough inspections, the authorities' manager confirms once again that the dungeon is indeed classified as E-rank, with no abnormalities. Noel grows even more irritated. Out of frustration, she ruffles her hair, revealing its stunning beauty. She sits on a bench, visibly displeased, when Kang suddenly appears with his creepy, evil eyes and greets her with a disturbing hello. Noel is startled and asks Kang, still somewhat shaken, if he needs something from her. Kang responds a bit shyly that it's nothing serious, he was just concerned about her. Noel sighs and admits that the dungeon incident had left her irritated and worried, but she adds that she was happy to meet Kang. She extends her hand for a handshake, which Kang accepts. During the handshake, Kang asks a question with his usual curiosity. He inquires if Noel believes Kang has the potential to clear a 2-star dungeon. Noel carefully observes Kang, her mind wandering back to the talking goblin they encountered. She notes that the goblin seemed even stronger than a B-rank hunter, a level typically associated with a 3-star dungeon. Noel thinks for a moment, then seriously tells Kang that he might indeed be capable of raiding a 2-star dungeon. She hands him her guild card and explains that, in the future, if Kang ever considers joining a guild, he should consider hers. She emphasizes that if Kang wants to unlock his full potential, he will need access to training grounds and resources, things only a big guild can provide. Noel proudly adds that her guild is among the top 3 guilds in Korea. Kang thanks Noel, but politely declines her offer. He explains that he prefers hunting alone in dungeons and finds the process of dividing loot with others to be a hassle. Furthermore, Kang cheekily reminds Noel that she should write a positive review about him, as her review will directly influence his ability to raid higher-level dungeons. At this point, we learn an important fact about new hunters. No matter their rank, every new hunter must begin with a 1-star dungeon. Only after an inspector writes a positive review can they gain the clearance to raid higher-level dungeons. Then, the scene shifts, and we see someone running hurriedly to the research team leader's office. Inside the room, a blonde-haired woman wearing red glasses sits at her desk, looking irritated. The manager opens the door and steps in, holding a report in his hand. The blonde-haired woman immediately shouts angrily at him, reminding him that she had strictly instructed not to be disturbed unless it was an emergency situation. The manager, trying to catch his breath, insists that the information in the report is more than an emergency. Hearing this, the blonde-haired woman grows even more angry and throws her Starbucks coffee onto the table. She warns the manager that if the report isn't interesting and important, she'll throw another cup of coffee at him. The manager, unfazed, places the report directly on the table in front of her. The blonde-haired woman picks up the report with a skeptical glare but soon freezes in shock. She immediately questions the manager, demanding to know if he's 110% sure that the data is accurate and not due to an error. The manager, looking confused and worried, assures her that the report and blood sample were checked multiple times and yielded the same result each time. Removing her glasses, the blonde-haired woman mutters to herself. She says that if this were a 5-star result, it would be interesting. If it were 6-star, she'd be screaming in excitement. And if it were 7-star, she'd tell the manager to shut up because it's not possible. But now, with dead seriousness, the manager tries to explain what's written in the report, only to be interrupted by another employee entering the room. The second employee announces that they've received Kangnam's Ability User Report from the Hunter Association's Awakening Ability Checking Test. This is the same place where Kang had taken his hunter license exam and where all his reports were previously pending. The employee hands the report to the blonde-haired woman, who places it on the table next to the blood analysis report. On the table, we see 2 reports, one from the Hunter Association and the other derived from Kang's blood. Both reports indicate that Kang's level ranges between 7 and 8. For context, 5-star corresponds to S rank, 7-star to SS rank, and 8-star to the legendary SSS rank. The reports reveal that Kang's health, mana, strength, detox, intelligence, every stat is maxed out at S rank. At that moment, a third employee enters and announces that an unknown organization has contacted their management. The organization has offered $1 million in exchange for Kang's data. Hearing this, the blonde-haired woman starts laughing loudly and immediately orders her team to reject the offer. The employees, confused, question her decision. One of them asks how they can turn down a $1 million deal. In response, the blonde-haired woman throws Kang's report to the employee and shouts, asking if he genuinely thinks this report is only worth $1 million. The employees look at the report and are shocked to see that Kang's stats are maxed out. Without hesitation, the blonde-haired woman orders her team to declare Kang's data confidential and ensure that no one outside the team learns about it. She smirks, thinking about Kang, and mutters to herself that she has to meet him as soon as possible. On the other hand, the scene shifts again and we see Kang lying on the floor, naked, wearing only underwear. Next to him, Yumin, dressed in protective gear. After that, the scene shifts, and we are told some crucial information. Kang explains that for ability users, the star rating system, also known as the rank system, is very important. If a hunter is 1 star, they cannot level up beyond level 20. Similarly, a 2-star hunter cannot exceed level 30, 3-star hunters max out at level 40, 4-star at level 50, and 5-star hunters cannot surpass level 60. A 5-star hunter is considered S rank, which is ultra rare. Because Kang was initially just a normal 1-star hunter, he believed that once he reached level 20, his progression was complete. When Kang checked his level at the association, he couldn't determine his star rating. This left Kang confused, so he asked Yumin for help. The scene shifts to Yumin holding a big syringe in her hand. She inserts it into Kang's stomach to extract his blood. Kang is visibly concerned and reminds Yumin that his blood is poisonous. However, Yumin reassures Kang, explaining that the syringe is special and acid-resistant. Then we learn something intriguing. The blonde woman mentioned earlier might be Yumin's mother because of their striking similarities. Additionally, Yumin works at the same institute as her. After collecting the blood sample, Yumin leaves, and Kang feels excited to discover his true star level. Yumin later reveals that through his research on mana, he discovered that to increase a star level, for example, from 4-star to 5-star, one must train in high-intensity mana areas. Wealthy individuals often build training centers with high mana concentrations for this purpose. However, it is only possible to upgrade a maximum of 1 star in a lifetime. Kang, after hearing all this information, decides he still doesn't know his exact star rank, but realizes the mana intensity in Hell is an advantage. Determined to grow stronger, Kang decides to spend the remaining 9 days in Hell to prepare for the next quest. The scene transitions to Kang sitting in a dimly lit room. Using his creation ability, Kang merges all the rare items he has collected, creating a legendary black dagger. Not stopping there, Kang combines all the purple mousse he gathered, along with crystal mousse, to create a high-intensity, legendary crystal stone. A single bite of this stone will restore all of Kang's mana. Observing all of this, Rainer and Kurson watch Kang silently. Suddenly, Kang starts laughing maniacally. In a creepy tone, Kang calls for Kurson. Kang's psychopathic, evil smile intensifies as he contemplates what command to give Kurson. Finally, Kang tells Kurson with a demonic smirk to bring all the rare and epic items from Kurson's village and offer them to Kang. In return, Kang promises to give Kurson a very good reward. After that, the scene shifts, and we see a purple-colored celestial star gazing at Kang with intense focus from the sky. The atmosphere grows heavier, setting the tone for what's to come. The scene transitions, and we learn that 9 days have passed. Kang appears exhausted but triumphant after forging incredible items. Kang has crafted the right arm of Orchesti, a legendary item, and a legendary sword blade. Through his creation skill, Kang discovered that combining rare items allows him to create legendary items. However, Kang notices something unsettling. Despite their legendary status, the items' effects seem normalized. Their power doesn't provide the dangerous effects Kang had hoped for. This realization frustrates him. Kang decides to use both the legendary blade and his new right arm in battle. His right arm doubles his battle power, and the black dagger adds another multiplier of 2, resulting in 4 times his combat strength. With a single slash, Kang tests his new strength. The entire wall in front of him is almost split in 2. This display of power demonstrates the intense training Kang has endured over the past days. He has pushed his body to the limits of torture, breaking his bones, damaging his body, and pouring acid on himself to increase his endurance and HP. Kang has even bathed in acid to make his blood more poisonous. Now equipped with his improved body and new equipment, Kang stands tall, wondering, will this be enough for the next quest? A moment of silence follows before the system notifies Kang. The Starving Star is observing Kang and has issued a new quest. The task: chase monsters for 24 hours and survive for 24 hours. The quest's description highlights its overwhelming difficulty, but promises an interesting reward. Desperate to grow stronger, Kang accepts the quest without hesitation. But as soon as he accepts, multiple stars appear in the sky. These celestial entities include the Shattering Star, Wister Star, Conqueror Star, Monster Star, and Struggling Star. Each of them begins observing Kang intensely, their excitement palpable for what's about to unfold. Suddenly, the quest forcefully upgrades into a hidden quest. The system notifies Kang of the new reality, and we see an enormous 1,000-foot snake slither into view, accompanied by an army of millions of monsters. This, we learn, was the doing of the Shattering Star. The real quest is revealed, Kang must survive for 48 hours while being chased and attacked by the entire army of the Shattering Star. The revelation terrifies Kang. He stands there, paralyzed in fear and surprise, but Kang's horror doesn't end there. The system notifies him that he has been cursed. Kang, already overwhelmed, is left stunned by the word curse. Then another notification appears with a single cryptic word, tasty. Kang is paralyzed, the word tasty looping in his mind. He doesn't understand its meaning, but begins to wonder if his body has become tasty. Kang stands like a stone statue, trying to decipher the message. On the other hand, we are shown a mysterious being approaching Kang. After then, we see Kang is still standing in the same place like a statue. After that, Kang touches his body and asks, "Was that tasty word spoken for Kang's body?" But suddenly Kang feels a very strange sensation. As soon as Kang turns, we see that from behind, Kurson and Rainer are both drooling. Kang also feels this strange vibe. He turns back and notices that Rainer and Kurson are looking at him with an intense hunger, drooling uncontrollably. They come closer to Kang, staring at him as if he is some delicious dish. Seeing this, Kang gets scared, runs intensely back a few steps and shouts, "Stay away from me, you crazy people!" On the other hand, Rainer explains to Kang with a mischievous smile that Kang has suddenly become very tasty. She asks, "Can I take just one tasty bite of your little pee-pee?" I mean your body. Hearing this, Kang gets even more startled and screams at Rainer, asking, "What does tasty mean to you, Rainer?" On the other hand, Rainer's condition worsens. She touches her tongue seductively while still drooling and explains to Kang with a sly tone that this curse has probably made Kang's body irresistibly delicious. Rainer adds that she wants to cook Kang's body in different ways and make various dishes. After that, Rainer tells Kang that although she is a monster, she is also an end-game boss, so she can control her hunger. She explains that, as a fairy, she had promised that after the end of the world, she would devour all living monsters. Rainer comes close to Kang's face, holds his nose, and says, "All the people of the Starving Star are like this. It's a hell full of greedy beings that live in an eat-or-be-eaten world." Suddenly, Kang hears a strange noise. As he turns back, he notices Kurson's hypnotized eyes full of intense hunger, as if Kurson is ready to eat him alive. Kang gets startled, but Rainer snaps out of it, becomes very scared, and walks away, telling Kang, "I didn't have any weird thoughts about eating you." Kang tells Rainer to wipe her drool before talking to him again. Standing still, Kang feels very worried and doesn't know what to do. He realizes that because his body has become so tasty, all the monsters in hell will now come to eat him. While Kang is deep in thought, the wall of his safe house starts to shake violently. Everyone is surprised. Kang immediately takes out his black dagger and breaks the door. Suddenly, a deep red fog moves towards Kang's body. All the fog enters his body, and it is revealed that the fog was made of mosquitoes, some of the deadliest creatures in hell. They sit on Kang's body and start sucking his blood. However, as soon as they do, all the mosquitoes drop dead because Kang's blood is poisonous. Kang becomes very angry because he was terrified for nothing. It was just mosquitoes. He starts smashing the dead mosquitoes in frustration. Suddenly, Rainer appears and tells Kang that these mosquitoes are one of the fastest monsters in hell. If they found Kang, it means other monsters will also come. Hearing this, Kang steps out of his room, and purple feathers start flying around him. As Kang looks up, he notices the sky has turned reddish-purple. A huge, creepy moon looms overhead, casting an ominous glow. Kang also notices electric wires in the sky, and atop the buildings are countless black pigeon shadows. Kang looks closely and realizes that they are all zombified pigeons. The sight is terrifyingly creepy. However, Kang starts laughing loudly and taunts the pigeons, asking, "Are you going to kill me, you mere pigeons?" But as soon as Kang says this, the pigeons start acting very weirdly, as if they understand his words. The pigeons get enraged and suddenly dive to the ground, chasing Kang. At the same time, hundreds and thousands of mosquitoes join the chase. Kang starts running at full speed with Kurson right behind him, both searching for a safe place. While running, Kang asks Kurson if there's a safe place in his village. Kurson, knowing that Kang's presence would destroy the village, lies and says, "My village has become very small, and the population has increased." Kang, irritated, replies, "Forget it, I wasn't expecting much from you anyway." As Kang keeps running, he notices a cliff and jumps off, hoping to find safety below. However, as soon as he lands, he sees the ground crawling with monsters, all ready to devour him. Kang quickly realizes that escape is impossible. He takes out his black dagger and prepares to fight. Kang is both excited and ready to kill the monsters, but as he looks closer, he notices these monsters have six-pack abs, strong muscles, razor-sharp teeth, and drool dripping from their mouths. The monsters grab Kang by the arm, bite off his head, and rip his body into two pieces. After that, Kang gets revived and immediately realizes that he won't be able to defeat these monsters. With no other choice, Kang starts running like a madman. Suddenly, a whispering voice speaks in Kang's mind, instructing him to turn right. Confused but desperate, Kang obeys the voice and turns right. The voice speaks again, whispering that this isn't just a hallucination. Kang starts to doubt his sanity, thinking he's going crazy and talking to himself. But the voice reassures Kang that it's real and tells him to follow its instructions if he wants to stay alive. Already on edge, Kang grows even more nervous. He questions what on earth is happening to him, but with no other options, Kang decides to trust the voice. Each time it guides him, Kang follows. As Kang takes another sharp turn, he notices the monsters chasing him, colliding with walls, unable to match his sudden changes in direction. For the first time, Kang feels like he has a chance to escape. However, Kang's relief is short-lived as he reaches a dead end. Before him lies a massive pile of rubble resembling a cave. From within the cave, 6 deadly red eyes glare at Kang. He immediately realizes he is in deep trouble. Kang freezes in fear as a 100-foot-tall tarantula emerges from the rubble. Its razor-sharp, tentacle-like legs glisten ominously. The spider unleashes its special web attack, and the whispering voice in Kang's mind shouts at him to dodge right. Kang narrowly avoids the web, which traps the monsters chasing him. For a moment, Kang breathes a sigh of relief, but quickly checks his system and discovers that the spider is level 87. The realization sends a chill down Kang's spine. His face pales, and he's overwhelmed with fear. The whispering voice reassures him that the spider is under its control. Confused, Kang demands to know who the voice belongs to. Finally, the voice reveals itself. It is the Whispering Star, the golden-colored celestial that had granted Kang a small amount of power in the past, unlocking his abilities. The Whispering Star materializes, and we see she is a sexy, hot angel with an air of mystery. She attempts to hypnotize Kang, offering him an irresistible deal. She tells Kang that if he makes her his master, he can end this mission here and now. The angel seductively whispers to Kang, holding his neck and chest while leaning in closer. She insists she has always wanted someone like him. The Whispering Star promises that if Kang agrees to a connection with her, he will gain everything he desires. Intrigued, Kang asks what benefits he would receive by joining her. The angel smirks and claims she has no ulterior motives. She warns Kang that if Nag will hear what other Celestial have plans for Kang, he will immediately choose her. Hearing this, Kang asks, if other Celestials have utter motives for him, is she a saint? Why she want to help Kang? Also for free. Then the angel holds his cheeks in a creepy way and says, I like you. She then bizarrely puts her fingers in his ears, mouth, and nose and whispered, I want to get smashed by you, my boy, leaving Kang in a hypnotized state. The angel multiplies herself using a shadow clone jutsu technique and envelops Kang with her ethereal forms. She hugs Kang with her large chest, pulling him deeper into an ocean. Kang feels like he is drowning in deep water. However, something jolts him back to reality. He snaps out of the hallucination and defiantly declares, I have a girlfriend. And damn, I must say, Kang is loyal. The scene shifts, revealing Whispering Star standing silently, her disappointment palpable. She doesn't utter a word, just stares at Kang with an unreadable expression. Kang, on the other hand, assumes she is furious and braces for an outburst. But instead, Whispering Star lets out a sigh, her voice tinged with regret. She comments on how wasteful it is for someone like Kang with such potential to have such limited ambition. Her disappointment is evident. With a dismissive glance, she remarks that Kang may only understand the gravity of his errors after enduring 200 torturous defeats at the hands of the monster. She leaves with a flying kiss, saying Kang will definitely call her again. As Whispering Star vanishes, the massive tarantula creeps closer to Kang. Its red eyes glow with deadly intent, and saliva drips from its fangs. Kang, already exhausted and wounded, struggles to stand his ground. Suddenly, he feels a sharp pain in his hand and notices thousands of small tarantulas swarming over his body, covering him in webbing. From above, Whispering Star watches with amusement, giving Kang a sarcastic wave. The huge tarantula stings Kang, paralyzing him completely and binding him tightly in its web. The scene shifts to a dark, web-infested cave where Kurson and Rainer arrive, searching for something. They find mummified web-like cocoons hanging from the cave ceiling. Among them, Rainer locates Kang and tears open the webbing. Kang emerges, lifeless and unresponsive, as if his soul has left his body. Kirsan lifts him, unsure of how to revive him. Rainer, with a grin, suggests a solution. He punches Kang in the stomach, almost stopping his breath. Kang gasps and regains consciousness. Kurson urgently tells Kang they need to escape before the tarantula returns. Meanwhile, Rainer, demanding his reward for saving Kang, insists on drinking Kang's blood. Kang loses his temper, shouting in anger at Rainer. Amid the chaos, a strange camaraderie forms, creating a bittersweet emotional moment. As they head out of the cave, Kirsan notices something unusual in Kang's hand. "What is that?" he asks. Kang, confused, examines his hand and is stunned to see a black gauntlet with 6 fingers. The gauntlet looks dangerously powerful. Whispering Star's voice echoes faintly, commenting that Kang has completed his toy. Kang becomes serious and pulls a small glass from his inventory, a tool he acquired earlier that lets him check the stats of any item. Upon scanning the gauntlet, Kang is shocked. The gauntlet, once a white legendary item created by Kang, now displays the title Real Legendary Item. Kang realizes that all his previous legendary items were fakes. Seeing the immense power of this weapon, Kang grins with triumph, knowing it multiplies his strength threefold. Unable to contain his excitement, Kang strikes a heroic pose, clutching the gauntlet. Kirsan, watching from the side, mutters to himself that Kang might have lost his mind, possibly infected by Venom's influence. The scene shifts to Venom's monsters equipped with razor-sharp teeth hunting for Kang. However, they begin acting strangely, sniffing a delicious scent. Drawn by the smell, they follow it to a dark seaway where a swollen mosquito lands on one monster's neck and bites it. The bitten monster falls, and the other monsters, enraged, devour it. But the mosquito, now full of blood, viciously attacks the remaining monsters, brutally consuming them. The camera pans to the end of the seaway, where Kang stands, surrounded by mosquitoes. One mosquito bites Kang's finger, seemingly establishing a connection. Kang, now in control of the swarm, grins with sadistic satisfaction and declares, "This was too easy." After that, we see that all the monsters are eating each other raw. On the other hand, a swarm of mosquitoes fills their stomachs with Kang's blood and starts injecting it into one another. This causes the venomous monsters to turn on each other and devour one another. Meanwhile, Kang stands confidently, holding a mosquito in his hand, and says with a smirk that his plan is perfect. A cloud of mosquitoes buzzes around Kang, all sucking his blood. Then we are taken to a flashback where Kang begins experimenting with his family skill. Kang explains that using this skill to control a powerful being like Kurson requires a massive amount of mana. If Kang is summoning or commanding Kurson, he cannot command anyone else simultaneously. However, Kang discovers that he can control weaker creatures like mosquitoes in huge quantities. Kang realizes that he can either control Kurson alone or give commands to hundreds of mosquitoes at once. But because Kang is blackmailing Kurson by threatening to kill his family, he can control both Kurson and the mosquitoes at the same time. Kurson, watching this, feels both impressed and disgusted by Kang's methods. However, Kang's clever plan doesn't go smoothly. The mosquitoes suck so much of Kang's blood that he suddenly feels dizzy. Darkness clouds Kang's vision and he collapses to the ground. Kurson emerges from the tunnel and immediately lifts Kang onto his shoulder. But as they start to retreat, Kang senses a strange danger. He quickly recovers, pulls out his black dagger, and prepares for a fight. At the far end of the tunnel, Kang sees numerous glowing, bloodthirsty green eyes glaring at him. As the figures come closer, Kang's heart skips a beat. His entire body shivers as the terrifying creatures step into the dim light. A massive horde of soldiers, now turned into zombies, emerges from the darkness. These creatures, once human, are now deadly undead beings. Kang's system immediately alerts him, identifying them as hungry zombies of level 22. To Kang's horror, the system also reveals that these creatures exist in thousands. The zombie commander, a grotesque and imposing figure, commands his army with a roar to devour Kong. Immediately, the zombies and goblins charge toward Kong like a tidal wave of death. Kong reacts quickly, throwing his dagger at the nearest goblin, piercing its head. As the goblin collapses, Kong briefly thinks, "If I destroy the head like in the movies, they'll stop." But to his shock, the zombies don't stop. Even after their heads are destroyed, they continue their attack. The goblin Kong killed, however, had traces of Kong's blood on the dagger. This creates chaos among the zombies as they turn on one another, starting to rip each other apart. Kang, realizing this is his chance, scrambles up a nearby ladder to escape from the tunnel. But the zombie commander notices Kang's movements and screams in rage, calling his underlings idiots. The commander's deafening roar brings all the zombies' attention back to Kang. They stop attacking each other and once again charge toward him. Kang, with adrenaline pumping, races up the ladder. Kang is rushing out of the tunnel with full force, and the commander shouts at all his fellow members to follow him. Kang hurriedly breaks through the top cover of the tunnel and finally reaches the surface of the city. He anxiously waits for all the zombies to emerge from the tunnel. Kang is tense and deeply worried because these zombies are not ordinary. They are trained in martial arts. Kang himself is trained, but these zombies are immortal. Suddenly, a zombie wielding an AK-47 emerges from the tunnel and starts shooting at Kang. To Kang's surprise, zombies also appear from another tunnel, flanking him, and begin firing. Kang is utterly shocked to see that these zombies know how to shoot, and he realizes the dire trouble he is in. If these zombies manage to overwhelm him, Kang wonders how he could ever recover from such a scenario. Suddenly, Kang hears the sound of marching behind him. His heart sinks. Slowly, he turns to look, and his eyes widen in horror. All his courage seems to drain from his body as he sees that he is surrounded. Zombies and venomous monsters glare at him with massive teeth and long, slimy tongues, ready to devour him piece by piece. Kang understands that escape is almost impossible. Checking his system window, he notices there are 46 minutes left, but those 46 minutes feel like an eternity. Kang knows that if the zombies and venomous monsters get to him, they will torture and consume him slowly. The zombie commander commands his soldiers to eat him alive, savoring every moment until no flesh remains. Meanwhile, the venomous monsters begin closing in from behind, eager to devour him. Kang, in a desperate move, pulls out a crystal mousse from his pocket and crunches it. Instantly, an intense surge of mana floods through his body, overflowing with power. Kang activates his domain expansion, releasing an intense shockwave that ripples through the area. The zombies suddenly stop attacking Kang and turn their attention to the venomous monsters, engaging in a fierce and bloody battle. Zombies begin biting into the venomous monsters, while the monsters retaliate, tearing the zombies into shreds. Kang stands back, smiling as chaos unfolds. Kang explains that his domain expansion had injected intensified blood energy into the venomous monsters, amplifying it by 100%. The result? The zombies and venomous monsters turned on each other, leaving Kang untouched. Kang believes this plan will buy him the precious 46 minutes he needs, but suddenly a gunshot rings out from behind. Kang barely dodges the bullet, relying on his sixth sense. Turning, he sees the zombie commander with over 50 trained military soldiers equipped with automated rifles, all aiming directly at him. Kang is confused. Why didn't his domain expansion affect these soldiers? Realization dawns. These soldiers are out of his range. The zombie commander shouts an order. "Pick up your rifles and fire hard on him!" Before the soldiers can act, an intense slash echoes through the air. In a single strike, Curson appears and decapitates all the zombies in one swift motion. Curson turns to Kang with a cocky smirk and says, "You can save the thanks for later." Seeing Curson, Kang's heart swells with joy as though reliving a personal victory. In Curson's hands is a massive black scythe, a legendary weapon forged by Kang himself. The scythe has a unique ability. It actively tracks and kills enemies Curson targets. After eliminating its foes, the scythe returns to Curson like Thor's Mjolnir. With a devilish grin, Curson confidently swings his scythe, emitting an aura of menace. Together, Kang and Curson prepare to face the next wave, ready to unleash chaos. After that, Curson kills all the zombies in a single slash and stands in a heroic pose, imitating Kang. On the other hand, Kang looks behind and thinks that finally, Curson is also adopting Kang's personality. But the zombie commander doesn't like this at all. The zombie commander picks up the gun of his dead comrade and starts shooting at Curson again. However, the gun freezes due to Curson's black scythe. Taking advantage of this, Curson cuts the commander's hand and gun in half with a single swing. Not only that, he kicks the zombie commander with a powerful blow. Kang watches as Curson kills the zombies one by one and thinks that if it were a few days earlier, even if Kang had ordered Curson to do a task, Curson wouldn't have done it properly. But ever since Kang gave Curson the black scythe as a gift, Curson has become totally tame. Curson seems to like Kang a lot now and listens to everything Kang says. While Kang is lost in these thoughts, the Venom Hulk monster hits Kang with a powerful smash. Kang barely dodges and finds himself surrounded as the monsters close in on him. Due to the effect of Kang's domain expansion, the zombies catch the Venom monster again, and another fight breaks out between the zombies and the Venom monster. Kang looks to his left and right, noticing the increasing number of zombies and Venom monsters. To make matters worse, Kang's domain expansion starts to fade. Kang is having a hard time surviving the situation, but then a massive, humongous red tornado appears in the sky. It is a swarm of mosquitoes. Seeing the mosquitoes, Kang realizes he might have to use his secret weapon. Kang tells himself that it took him a long time to create this weapon, and he isn't even sure if it will work. This is Kang's last resort. Kang takes out a strange white cloth from his inventory, wraps it around his body, and instantly becomes invisible. Kang, now looking like a white ghost, says in a menacing tone, "I hope you all get along with each other." The red swarm of mosquitoes descends, spreading over the entire area. With Kang's presence now hidden, the mosquitoes are left to inject Kang's blood into the monsters and zombies. Chaos ensues. Monsters and zombies start attacking each other. Kang, watching from the shadows, is very happy and thinks his plan has worked. Kang reflects on how he thought the white cloth would be useless, but it saved him from certain death. Just when Kang believes the worst is over, a zombie takes a strong bite on Kang's leg, causing a huge wound. Blood starts pouring out of Kang's leg rapidly. Kang immediately understands the gravity of the situation. All the monsters around him become active, drawn to the scent of Kang's blood. Kang, unable to move, watches as the monsters slowly approach him. Kang becomes desperate, thinking if only he could replenish the lost blood, he might have a chance. Suddenly, Kang notices the blood of monsters pooling on the ground. A sinister smile spreads across Kang's face as he commands his team of mosquitoes to suck the blood from the venomous monsters. The mosquitoes obey, draining the monsters of their blood. The monsters collapse, turning into skeletons. The mosquitoes then inject the venomous blood into Kang. As the monster blood enters Kang's body, he screams like a madman. A shockwave emanates from him, sending all the mosquitoes flying. Kang starts experiencing intense pain, losing consciousness, vomiting, and collapsing onto the floor, crying intensely. But when a monster approaches to deliver the final blow, swinging its claw to cut Kang's neck, something unexpected happens. The monster's hand shatters upon impact. In an instant, Kang flies through the air and cuts off the monster's right hand. When Kang's full form is revealed, his face resembles a zombified monster. Kang starts laughing like a psychopath, his laughter echoing like a maniac. Suddenly, Kang lets out a menacing roar. Kang becomes a bloodthirsty monster. He wears a white cloak, resembling a moon knight, and flies into the air with a menacing presence. Kang lands forcefully on the back of a venomous monster, crushing its spine with sheer power. With immense strength, Kang grabs the mouth of the venomous creature, forcing it open. His teeth transform into razor-sharp fangs, mirroring those of the venomous monster. Kang widens his mouth and with a crunch bites off the monster's head, consuming it whole. The system immediately notifies Kang that he has absorbed a new type of blood. All the characteristics of the venomous monster are now part of Kang's body. Additionally, the system announces that his ability will increase by 30%. However, there's a drawback. Kang's body becomes immobilized as the monster's blood spreads through his veins. Kang collapses on the spot, unable to move. Suddenly, Kang feels an excruciating pain coursing through his body. He looks at his hand and notices enlarged veins and shriveled flesh. His heart feels like it's being crushed, and the agony is so intense that Kang screams loudly, his mouth opening like a madman. It feels as though every part of his body is being devoured. Meanwhile, the scene shifts, showing Kang in this torment, slaughtering zombie monsters like a raging beast. The system continues to notify Kang declaring that constellations such as the Starving Star, Conquering Star, Whispering Star, and Monarch Star are watching him intently. Kang looks up, addressing the constellations with a defiant snarl, saying that they enjoy watching people in agony, forcing them to beg for help. But Kang is not like other people. Even if he stands at the brink of death, Kang will never plead for their aid. With a mighty roar, Kang leaps into the air and slams back to the ground with a bam, creating a powerful shockwave that sends everything around him tumbling. He moves at blinding speed, annihilating every zombie monster that crosses his path. However, his energy suddenly depletes, and he collapses to the ground. A massive, hulking venom monster, rippling with six-pack abs, jumps into the air and slams onto Kang with a thunderous bam, crushing his ribcage. The venom monster grabs Kang's head, pressing it hard into the ground. Meanwhile, 5 more monsters, equally bulging with muscle, land around him. They take turns pummeling Kang's stomach with relentless blows, causing his intestines to spill out. The pain becomes unbearable as Kang's body writhes in torment. Suddenly, 5 to 6 more venom monsters appear, surrounding Kang's head. They open their gnawing, razor-sharp mouths, ready to devour him alive. All the monsters are devouring Kang's stomach, legs, and neck. The creatures are eating Kang slowly, bit by bit, and with every passing moment, Kang's body is losing its life. The problem here is that as soon as Kang's health drops below 10%, the system restores Kang's health again, and the monsters continue eating Kang's body parts. This turns into an endless cycle, but suddenly Kang's inner demon awakens. Kang bites into a monster's neck with his razor-sharp teeth and eats its head in one vicious blow. After that, Kang goes crazy. Kang shouts, "All the fucking bastards will be eaten one by one!" Kang stands up, blood dripping from his mouth, and declares, "I will fucking tear you limb from limb, every single one of you!" Saying this, Kang roars loudly and leaps into the air. One by one, he grabs the heads of the venomous monsters and smashes them like watermelons. Not only that, Kang starts enjoying this primal rage. One after another, Kang devours the monsters whole. With a psychopathic grin, Kang says, "You came to eat me, right? Well, now I will eat you all!" On the other hand, the scene shifts. We see the lower body of the zombie commander completely destroyed as it drags itself away from the battlefield. The zombie commander, now trembling, looks at Kang and thinks, "This human, he's more dangerous than any monster." The zombie commander no longer wants to eat Kang. All it wants is to escape this horror. But as the zombie commander moves forward, it sees something terrifying. Sitting atop a pile of corpses, devouring every last bit, is none other than Kang. Kang genuinely looks like a bloodthirsty demon. Seeing Kang, the zombie commander freezes in fear, its condition worsening with every passing second. Kang's razor-sharp teeth gleam under the blood-red moon. Slowly, Kang steps forward toward the zombie commander. His red, glowing eyes pierce through the darkness. The zombie commander is so scared it feels like it will pee its pants. Kang, as though there's no humanity left in him, advances toward the zombie commander. Desperate, the zombie commander slashes Kang's lower leg. Despite the attack, Kang limps forward like an unstoppable zombie. With an animalistic rage, Kang swings his hand and completely blows away the zombie commander's right shoulder. Kang leaps forward, landing right in front of the commander, and sinks his teeth into the monster's face, ripping it apart. Kang devours the entire face of the zombie commander, leaving it unrecognizable. Within 48 minutes, Kang eats every single monster in sight. With nothing left to destroy, Kang collapses, finally taking a moment to rest. The system notifies Kang. Quest completed. Kang was supposed to receive a silver chest, but due to his extraordinary performance, he will receive a golden chest. The curse on Kang's body is also deactivated, and all side effects are removed. The system gives Kang another notification. You have absorbed a part of the monster into your body. Finally, Kang slowly opens his eyes, taking a deep breath of relief. He looks at the red sky, where the ominous red moon is clearly visible. Kang feels an intense hunger clawing at him and wonders if this hunger will one day kill him. But for now, Kang relaxes, thinking this hellish quest is finally over. Before Kang can enjoy his relief, he hears a horn blaring loudly behind him. The sound sends a chill down his spine. Kang stands up, ready for another battle, and sees a huge black shadow army approaching him. The nightmare is far from over. After that, shadows begin to appear. Kong notices a strange group of masked individuals dancing and singing as if celebrating a festival. They play instruments while moving closer to him. Among them, one figure stands out, a person wearing a black mask with a black seal pack, tape wrapped around their face, and riding a massive angelfish monster holding a red iron handle like a horse rider. Kang's eyes widen as he sees not just one but hundreds of orcs, each with a black seal on their face and pieces of wood tied around their necks, pulling a grand carriage. All these monsters have levels ranging from 50 to 120. The sheer power radiating from them leaves Kong's condition deteriorating rapidly. He wonders who or what could possibly command such terrifying creatures. Finally, the carriage halts. From inside, a dark, elegant shadow slowly descends. Standing tall in front of Kong, the figure speaks. "I never thought humans were still alive in this world." The shadow's full appearance is revealed, and Kong is left speechless. The being is stunningly gorgeous, but undeniably demonic, with black skin adorned with intricate gold jewelry. With a maniacal, psychopathic smile, he repeats, "I never thought humans were still alive in this world." Kong notices the name Kawaro appear, marked at level 118. A shiver runs down Kong's spine. Kawaro steps closer, his piercing eyes locked on Kong. He taunts Kang, questioning how such a low-level human has managed to survive. Kawaro leans in, tasting the blood from Kang's cheek, smirking as he comments on its quality. Without warning, Kawaro kneels, picks up the decapitated head of a zombie, and brings it before Kong's feet. Kang, already terrified, watches as Kawaro performs a magical spell, and miraculously, Kong's injured leg is fully restored. Standing elegantly, Kawaro moves a little ahead of Kong and beckons him, saying in a regal tone, "Follow me! Something as precious as you should be welcomed with a glorious occasion and the finest food." Kawaro then asks Kang, "Are you from the family of the Shattering Star?" "I am one of the people of the Shattering Star." Before Kang can respond, he understands Kawaro's intentions and boldly replies, taunting him, "I have no intention of becoming a mere delicate like you." Hearing this, Kawaro bursts into maniacal laughter. Tears stream down his face as his sharp-pointed tongue slides out, licking his lips. With a psychopathic smile, Kawaro asks, "Do you know the simplest and most basic craving of this world? It's hunger." Kawaro begins to recount his tragic past. He explains that when he was human, he worked tirelessly to fight monsters but failed at every turn. Despite his efforts, Kawaro couldn't protect his family, and they were all slaughtered. Rage fills his voice as he shouts, "I tried so hard! I fought everything, but all my hard work was wasted!" He describes how the world descended into hell, leaving him no choice but to accept the offer of the Shattering Star. Fixing his threatening gaze on Kong, Kawaro declares, "You should join me. Together we will devour the whole world like a snake." He extends his hand, his eyes gleaming with intensity, repeating his demand. Kong, however, remains silent. The tension builds as Kong simply sits there, creating an awkward silence between them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Yumin senses that Kong is in grave danger, her instincts screaming for answers. Now back to hell. Kang slowly deactivates the gauntlet on his right hand and tells Kawaro with a sly smile that maybe now Kang has no option left. Kang slowly gets up and walks toward Kawara. Kawara assumes that Kang has come to join him, and all the weird masked monsters watch closely. Kong approaches, holds Kawara's hands elegantly, and suddenly bites his hand. Kawara screams in pain and throws Kang away, shouting, "How dare a damn beast bite royalty like Kawara?" On the other hand, Kang gets up, dusts himself off, and taunts Kawara. "Why does the taste of your blood feel worse than a zombie's?" "Oh, wait, I know. It's because a traitor's blood should taste that way." The word traitor echoes in Kawara's mind. Furious, Kawara sticks out his tongue, licking his own face, and growls in anger. "How dare you call Kawara a traitor?" With rage, Kawara steps in front of Kang and declares, "The last human in hell should die. Kawara gave you plenty of chances, but you love to die, don't you?" But Kang smirks, his confidence unwavering. Kong knows Kawara can't kill him. The Shattering Star clearly has plans for Kang, plans that won't allow his death. Kang taunts Kawara further, his smirk widening, knowing no matter what Kawara does, Kang won't die. Infuriated, Kawara grabs Kang by the throat and floods Kang's body with his deadly aura. Slowly, Kong's body starts to burn. Kawara watches Kong suffering with glee and says mockingly, "Can you believe you're calling Kawara a traitor? Do you even know the past? Did you really fall from the sky? Does Kong truly think Kawara sided with the monsters to exterminate all humans? You know nothing of the past, so don't you dare call Kawara a traitor! Just as Kang is on the brink of death, Kawara senses an intense aura from behind. The system notifies Kawara. The monarch celestial star is warning you. A massive shockwave erupts, sending Kawara flying far away. Kong slips from Kawara's grasp and collapses to the ground, unconscious. The celestial star's power reverberates, knocking Kawara's entire group away as well. Panicked, Kawara slams his head into the ground, begging for forgiveness. I didn't know the celestial star had a plan for him. Trembling, Kawara gathers his group and flees. Meanwhile, Kong lies motionless on the ground, still unconscious, as the remnants of the celestial star's shockwave linger in the air. Finally, after a long time, Kang comes to his senses and slowly starts getting up from his place. Kang is very irritated and angry. He spreads his hands, looks up at the sky, and shouts to the Celestials that they can do anything they want, but Kang will never surrender to them. Exhausted, Kong falls to the ground and becomes unconscious. He remains on the ground for almost half an hour. During this time, Kang gets a vision of Yumin waiting for him on Earth. In his dream, Yumin is calling out to him. Finally, Kang opens his eyes and sees Rainer standing over him. Rainer opens her eyes wide and shows her thigh to Kang. Confused, Kang asks, "What did you do with your thigh, Rainer?" Rainer calmly explains that Kang was unconscious on the ground, and while unconscious, Kang bit her thigh and sucked her blood. Rainer assures Kang that it's fine because she has no problem with it, as Rainer always sucks Kong's blood. She adds that when Kong sucked his blood, Kang's health improved, and Rainer had also sucked Kang's blood while he was unconscious. Kang is startled, but decides to check his rewards. As soon as he does, he notices a purple-silver chest with a snake icon on it. Kang understands that this chest is going to be very special. He opens it and finds a platinum card. Kang had seen silver and gold cards before, but never a platinum card. The platinum card sparkles, and a broken, normal, sharp blade falls from the card. Seeing this, Kang feels disappointed and thinks there is no way a platinum card would contain a normal, broken sword. Kang checks the status of the sword using his crystal glasses and discovers that the sword's name is Gluttony and it has a common rank. Kang is shocked to see the common rank. Looking deeper, Kang learns that this weapon was previously used by Adamantium, a direct family member of the Starving Star. The sword has the ability to devour other weapons and increase its ability. Curious, Kang decides to test this. He takes out his legendary dagger and orders Gluttony to devour it, but nothing happens. Feeling awkward and embarrassed, Kang sits in a corner thinking he is really stupid. After some time, Kang tries again. This time, he clashes the sword with his black legendary dagger. To his shock, the sword splits into two and devours the dagger. The system notifies Kong that the sword has now turned into a legendary sword. Kong learns that the sword not only increases his attack by 3 times, but also has a special ability. When Kang kills enemies with this sword, all his allies' health will increase. Seeing this, Kang proudly tells Rainer that this sword will make him even more powerful. Rainer smiles and says she hopes so because it will make Kang's blood tastier, and she can suck it more. Startled, Kong realizes that Rainer only cares about his blood. The scene shifts, and Kang is seen holding a candle as he enters the same dark room where he previously saw the skeleton human. He sits on the skeleton's desk, talking to it like an old friend. Kang calls the skeleton Old Man, and tells him he respects him for staying with humanity until the end and not losing his sanity. Kang admires that. Even in a world where humans turned into monsters or zombies, the skeleton kept his humanity. Kang searches the skeleton's desk, hoping to find information about his family or past, but finds nothing except a scrapbook. Curious, Kang opens it and is shocked. His eyes widen as he reads through the scrapbook. It contains crucial information about Earth's history, the arrival of Hell's first dungeon, the catastrophic events that followed, and how to fix everything. Excited, Kang exits the building with the scrapbook, giving a confident smile. He looks back at the skeleton's room one last time and vows that he will not let the skeleton's efforts go to waste. Kang promises to use the scrapbook to save humanity and prevent Earth from turning into hell. Well, I think the skeleton and Kang might be connected. Is the skeleton Kang's ancestor? Or perhaps it's Kong himself from a distant future. Only time will tell. Well, that's the end of this video. Don't forget to like and comment on your favorite part. The next part will come as soon as we hit the like goal of 7,000. Until then, goodbye and see you in the next video.